All right, a Monday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Jack Johnson hanging out with us, Michael Darcy, the Drake. We head up until 2 o'clock. 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us. 913-912-4810. Text line to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. We will hear from the Kansas City Chiefs coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. Andy Reid, we'll see which players will be at the podium as well. And then we'll talk with Joel Penfield coming up in the noon hour. We will hang out with Mick Schaefer in the 1 o'clock hour. Learn funniest best from the weekend. We'll get into all of those things. Again, 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us. K-State, KU in action over the weekend. Chiefs wrapping up preseason football, getting ready now for the Los Angeles Chargers in Brazil. The Missouri Tigers get ready for their season opener on Thursday. And the Royals head to Chicago after avoiding the sweep, salvaging a game in the series against the Tigers. And now they've got 3 games on the road in Chicago before returning home to face off against the Tigers again, still sitting 3 games back in the wild card behind the Seattle Mariners. And we'll talk some Royals baseball as well. 913-912-4810 is the text line. Let's get into the show and talk about the things that took place over the weekend. We start off with some college football. We'll certainly get into a lot of Chiefs today. Obviously, we'll get into some Chiefs later on this hour. We'll hear from the Chiefs again, and we'll talk some baseball with Joel Penfield. But let's start with college football. We have official games under the belts of a couple of local schools. KU taking care of business, covering the spread, and K-State having the result that was, quite frankly, I would say part of the fear for K-State fans is that not only losing a game to start off the season, but losing it to Iowa State and losing it in a manner where you walk away going, how did you lose that game? How did some plays not fall in your favor? And it has been a number of games in this stretch for K-State against Iowa State, Kleiman, versus Matt Campbell, that you've said, boy, a play here or there, if that is made, K-State finds a way to win that game. But they did not make the plays, and they did not win the game, and that has been a common theme. We talked about going into this game that one of the common themes was turnovers being a big issue for K-State. In these 5 games they have played, when they were 1-4, they were -8 in turnovers. They had turned the ball over 10 times, and Iowa State had only turned it over twice. They had 10 giveaways and 2 takeaways in those 5 games. Tough to win games when that happens. And of those 5 games, Iowa State had 2 turnovers in 1, meaning 4 of the 5 games, Iowa State did not even turn the football over in those games you were playing. So turnovers were going to be a big factor in this one. And, of course, right out of the gates, Dylan Edwards muffs the punt, and Iowa State gets the ball back. At that point, you're like, they can't even get out of their own way. Now, it didn't hurt them because they get the ball back by forcing the fumble, or at least the fumble being, going through the hands. Either way, The turnover happens, K-State gets the ball back. This was a game that I think you come away with it going, what is it about Matt Campbell and Chris Kleiman? What is it about Matt Campbell's team making some plays along the way and Chris Kleiman's team not making those plays? 1 of 3 on 4th down. Iowa State converting 4th downs. The fumble by Joe Jackson when you're at the 25-yard line.
Brutal.
And driving. The dropped interception by K-State on a possession where Iowa State eventually kicked the field goal to take the 17-14 lead.
Yep.
The decision at your own 29-yard line, which we will certainly get into, to go forward on 4th down. All of these things, you go, man, if 1 or 2 plays were different, if you flip those things, then K-State wins. The problem with saying that is, in a vacuum, yes, you could say that. But you can't say that for 5 out of 6 years. When every year you go, boy, if this were different, if that were different, if this play, boy, if you didn't turn the ball over here.
You start sounding like the Chargers.
Right. It's if man, Justin Herbert. Last year against Iowa State, first play of the game, fumble. This time against Iowa State, first time your offense or special team touches the ball, fumble. Again, you eventually get it back, and maybe it, quote-unquote, didn't hurt you, but it kind of set the theme and the feel for the game of, oh, God, here we go again against Matt Campbell. And, yeah, there are some real questions to be had for K-State moving forward. And Chris Kleiman, with Iowa State. Why is it this program that certainly K-State fans feel like they are better than or in better position yearly to go and compete for the Big 12, are not beating this particular team, are finding ways to at times beat themselves against this particular team, not taking advantage of opportunities that were there. We mentioned last year, Rocco Becht had like 4 or 5 turnover-worthy plays in a game in which he didn't turn it over. And K-State came away with 0 turnovers and interceptions on Rocco Becht.
Yeah.
And we had mentioned on Friday, we said Rocco Becht's probably going to give you 1 or 2. Without Higgins and Knoll, he may force it. He may try to, get something down the field. He may give you a play or 2. And he did. And it hits you right in the hands, and you drop it. And they eventually kick, the field goal and take the 3-point lead on that one, which then the next possession is going for it on your own 29-yard line. Let's hear from Chris Kleiman here. Let's weigh in. Let's hear from what Chris Kleiman had to say first and foremost. Michael, can we play clip number 9 here?
Drake
Please?
looks like
Drake and Michael are just sitting back there
giving
talking.
them a nice introduction.
Yeah. So let's play clip number 9 here. It's Chris Kleiman weighing in on the 4th down decisions in the overall game. It was just a general question about, hey, these 4th downs, some plays were made by them, not necessarily by you. And then he also weighs in on the decision to go for it his own 29-yard line. Here is Chris Kleiman postgame.
They just made a couple plays on 4th down. Those couple of them were short, and they made a couple of plays, and we didn't. And I would do the same thing again based on how the game was going, with us struggling to slow those guys down on 4th and 1.5. And I thought Abe had the first down. The review was not going to help because you couldn't see the lines out there, so it didn't matter. I mean, give them credit. They made the stop, and then I was hoping we could hold them to a field goal. They ended up scoring. We scored right away again, and then they did a nice job getting the drive.
A couple of things there. One, I would do the same thing again based on how the game was going and our inability to slow them down or stop them. I thought Avery Johnson got the first down, Chris Kleiman's words, but the review isn't going to help because that field was really cool. It was a cool field that they put together out there, and goes along with your frustration of why are you playing these games. As a quick aside, I saw a meme that somebody had with Nate Bargatze and the great Saturday Night Live skit when the American Revolution.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, we are going to fight for, so that we can use Fahrenheit and the rest of the world will use Celsius. Why, sir? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. And it was, we're going to build massive stadiums on campus, spend hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars to build these, to only play these games away. We shall call them neutral site games. But why, sir? Nobody knows.
And I'm happy for Ireland, and it seemed like a lot of fun. But, I mean, this is my concern for the Chiefs week 1, by the way, and why it's tough to take a lot away. If you're Iowa State, you feel good because you left with a win on a field that felt like no one could get a lot of footing on.
Yeah. And like the Eagles, only one team had to play on that.
Only one team had to play on it. Drops abound in this game. It's like they play with a different football somehow. I don't know if Ireland was like, hey, try this ball. We'll try a rugby ball. It's so slick, apparently. Apparently K-State and Iowa State's never had rain before. They've never played in rain before.
They played that crazy game in the snow where they scored like 100 points.
Apparently it's easier for them in snow than rain.
Amazing.
Rain was perplexing to
but
them.
I would also say it's the first game of the year. There's no preseason game, and you're playing in those conditions. I would expect for a lot of college football teams.
That was,
and
again,
games to be pretty sloppy.
my concern of the ugliness, and it transpired. And, again, if you're K-State, there's a lot of negative feelings, I think, just because of the fact that it's not like Iowa State played great and you lost by 3.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State, I thought, played bad and you lost by 3.
What do you make of the 4th down decision? That's what everybody's been talking about. 4th down decisions, I guess, is one of the things that have come out of this. But own 29-yard line, decide to go for it. This is going to be the old, and I understand how it's going to come off because it's easy to go, oh, I didn't mind the decision. I hated the play because therefore, you've got your cop out, right?
Yeah,
you're like, oh, well, the decision wasn't bad, but pick a different play. Here's my point on that. I do see where he's coming from with we couldn't stop them at that point because their previous 2 drives It's 21 plays, 124 yards, and 10 points in the dropped interception, which sucks, but, that dropped interception happened. The second half overall, they started out 3 and out. But then they went touchdown, field goal, touchdown, and then ran out the final 6.5 minutes of the game. Yeah. So in Chris Kleiman's defense of the strategy or the reasoning behind it, he did have the correct read on the game that his defense, for whatever reason, was not stopping Iowa State. Now, that's a conversation for a different time as to why the adjustments at the halftime for Iowa State meant that you couldn't stop them after the quick 3 and out. Why is it now that they are driving down the field and doing what they want outside of one play where you didn't, intercept the football? Okay, well, what about, just simply stopping them? And I know they did, enforcing the field goal there. But you go for it on your own 29, and this is where it gets into the easy cop-out answer. My issue with the play is not necessarily, that specific play, you should have done something different. My issue with it is, if you are going to run your quarterback, he can't 3 yards short of the first down start pitter-pattying and ducking and embracing for contact with a linebacker.
Yeah.
That's one. 2, if you don't want to injure your quarterback in game number 1, and he's a guy that's like, I've had my injuries running the football. I'm more of an open field runner. I'm not Josh Allen, Cam Newton, Jalen Hurts. I'm more of Lamar Jackson. So I'm not going to be taking on a linebacker. Then put the ball into the hands of Joe Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
If your right guard is not fast enough to get out there and pull, then do not run a play where your right guard has to get out and pull and Avery Johnson is 3 yards in front of him, because he's not fast enough to get there. If your tight end and tackle do not understand a combo block and who to peel off and get the next guy, then do not run that play. There were a lot of things wrong with that play. I don't know that Avery Johnson got it. When he first went down, I'm like, I think he's short. I still think he was short.
Yeah.
But that's, neither here nor there to my point of going for it. It seemed like a pretty finesse play to go for it on 4th and 1.5 yards. When Rocco Becht had gone for it on 4th and short and ran right up the middle, and it was tucking the ball and going in, shoulder first and picking up the first down. And Avery Johnson was already, getting into a little bit of the fetal position before the linebacker hit him. So it's not a surprise that the linebacker hits him, peels off. The linebacker ends up 2-3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. They didn't meet. It wasn't Leo Chenal and Nick Bolton against Bijan Robinson in Atlanta where you met and drove him backwards. Yeah. It was you hit him, but, Avery Johnson was able to then fall forward, but he really just fell down because it was I'm going to get hit, I'm bracing for contact, rather than I have to pick up the first down. We're at our own 29-yard line.
Yeah.
It's kind of the game here is the way we're presenting this, because our defense, according to Chris Kleiman, cannot stop them. So we are saying our defense can't stop them. We have to be on the field. I can't brace to try to avoid injury, or my head coach can't give me the ball in that situation. That's why I have an issue with the specific play. It's one or the other. Either you trust your quarterback that he is going to duck his shoulder and take on a linebacker if need be because you're saying the game is right here, or, well, I don't want to put my quarterback in that position, then give the ball to Joe Jackson. Your only 4th down conversion you had was when you gave the ball to Joe Jackson. Now, you gave it to him another time, and he did not pick up the first down. You also had a right guard that got pushed backwards in that situation. So, offensive line, brutal blocking. Avery Johnson deciding 3 yards before the first down to start to slow down and pitter-patter and take the hit. And the fact that your defense really wasn't getting a stop there in that situation. I don't necessarily hate him going for it there, because I do think his read of the game is right, because you know what they didn't do? Get a stop after that.
Yeah.
They gave up the touchdown, and then Iowa State ran the last 6.5 minutes of the game off the clock. So they didn't get the ball back. They didn't get the ball in a position to where, hey, we can hold them to a field goal. Okay, you scored a touchdown, but then they had the ball again. It didn't seem like they were stopping him. That's my assessment of it. I know it'll feel like a cop-out to say, I didn't mind it, but I hated the play, because that's one way of sort of being right.
It's sitting on the fence. Yeah.
If they ran a different play, then they would have got it. I don't know that they would have. Joe Jackson might have been stopped because, again, 4th down earlier, Joe Jackson was stopped. but I can't have my quarterback 3 yards before the first down start ducking and bracing for contact with a linebacker.
Yeah, no, it's a great call, and I think it's an astute observation of Avery Johnson is a good runner, but he's not going to be the runner in that situation. Like, I'm not trying to make this about Mizzou, but Brady Cook would try and run through you. He might not always get it. He wasn't necessarily maybe as talented of a runner as Avery Johnson as far as making guys miss, but you knew he wasn't going to shy away from the contact there. I don't know if Jalen Daniels is shying away from the contact there, but you know Avery Johnson, he's a slider build as far as a little skinnier, right? That's not his game. He's not going to try and take that linebacker on in that specific situation. You have to know that.
Yeah.
You have to know that.
As a coach, you have to know that.
That's my point.
Right,
as a coach, you have to know that. Again, I just keep going back. This was not a fun game to watch. It was fun. Fun for me. I was drinking beers, watching outside on a back patio, so I enjoyed that aspect of it.
I was doing a fantasy football draft while watching it. So,
nice.
It was fun.
So we both had a good time doing it.
Day.
But
I don't know that it's a good day for my team, but anyway, go ahead.
Just ugly. And this is, again, always my concern on these week 0. But the first game of the year, and it's overseas, so now everything's thrown into the randomizer right here. But, man, if I'm a K-State fan, I just don't feel great. I know Dylan Edwards didn't play after that punt return, so you can make the case of, well, what if he was healthy? I mean, the K-State didn't really run the ball very effectively the way I thought they were going to overall. They weren't horrible, but they weren't as good as I thought. They should have taken advantage early in the year, running the ball against Iowa State's defense. They did not. That was a bad game. That was a bad game, and a game that you talked about. You got to get one on Iowa State. You can't keep losing to your peers.
Well, it's one of those things, too, where it is week 0. You're going to have some ugly plays. It just happens. And then you factor in it was raining in the first half. So the ball gets a little bit more slippery. You're not as accurate with your throws. But I will say that for the majority of Chris Kleiman's time in Manhattan, and this goes back to the Bill Snyder era as well, they're so fundamentally sound in those big moments, right? They would never muff a punt inside their own 10-yard line. That would never happen. They were called Special Teams U, and now one of your star players is back there, muffs the punt, then gets hurt on the same play. He's out for the rest of the game. You have the Joe Jackson fumble. How many times in the past 10 years a great K-State drive where the offensive line is dominating, running backs are going between the blocks, it's just chunk yardage after chunk yardage, and then they just pound it in the end zone. Like, they don't even need to throw the ball. Joe Jackson gets hit, ball flies out, completely halts the drive. That fourth down play, loved the thought process, because then Iowa State went down. K-State had the big 75-yard first play of the drive, and you saw the reactions of all the players. They're screaming, yelling, spiking in a good way. They're celebrating. They finally felt that they had broken through. Here's where the game flips. And what did Iowa State do? Just methodically drove down the field. Like, never really were threatened in any of those moments, and they score again. Now, I know there was the fourth down play call, and K-State went with the zero blitz, and they just dropped it over the top, but they kind of had to, because Iowa State was getting whatever they wanted to on the final drive, and really for the majority of the fourth quarter. And, for Avery Johnson in that spot, he's maybe their best runner. He's not their strongest runner. But in that moment, going closer to the sideline, you give your offensive line time to get out there, you need 1 yard. And I think Chris Kleiman felt, if we can't get 1 yard here on this play with our star quarterback, so be it. It's still the right move to do it. And I don't even look to that specific play. You want to look why K-State lost. All the bad turnovers. The 9 penalties, I believe it was as well, some of them taking away big gains. I mean, that was just not a typical K-State football game where even when they're not playing well in the first half, they start to hit their stride, and then everything becomes easy for them. And for what their expectations are, which I'd imagine would be at minimum 10-2, 9-3, getting to the Big 12 title game, now you have to be not perfect, but pretty damn close to it the rest of the way.
Yeah, the up 14-7, and Iowa State had 3rd and 7 at the 24-yard line, and Rocco Becht threw that dime for the touchdown. That was a pretty massive swing in the game. If you get a stop there and force a field goal attempt, they're at the 24. It makes it a 41-yard attempt. 48 yards, I think, is what he missed earlier in the game when it wasn't even close. He ended up making the chip shot 31-yarder to put him up 17-14. But again, that's 31 yards as opposed to what would have been, 10 yards further. And again, he didn't look really all that comfortable on
College kickers, nothing is guaranteed.
Right. But Rocco Becht made the play on 3rd and 7. And, you get beat deep and you give up the touchdown, and now it's a tie game. And then you've got the ball back and you've got an opportunity to go and score. And you put the ball on the turf and then they go and they kick a field. Like, there were so many things along the way that it was like opportunity for K-State to really sort of take control of the game, and they never really did that. And, this was 7-7 at halftime. Could have been a whole lot better, could have been a whole lot worse. But now moving forward, I mean, you obviously can't let this game beat you twice, and you would hope that you wouldn't lose to North Dakota. But, to your point, Jack, this is now a team that's going to have to play next to near perfect football in some of these bigger games, because if you want to be playing down in Arlington, you're going to have to be one loss maybe the rest of the way in Big 12 play. Maybe one loss.
Probably.
Maybe two. Maybe more than likely only one loss. I don't think that 6-3 get you there, depending on all the different tiebreakers. You never know. I mean, the Big 12's kind of crazy and topsy-turvy, and 4 or 5 different teams you're like, oh, can win the conference, and there's a number of different teams that can beat one of the better teams on any given night. But Iowa State now has a quote-unquote road win at Kansas State to start off their season 1-0 in conference play, and K-State has a quote-unquote home loss to start their season this year to Iowa State in a season that has a tougher schedule for K-State.
But I will say to K-State that was maybe one of the toughest games they have. Right. I mean, you do have at Arizona, you have UCF, you have TCU at home, at Oklahoma State, Colorado at home. I mean, yeah, you still have to go on the road at Utah and at Kansas, but I do think at least you can say there's a chance for them to get hot. It's not like you have this brutal – it's not South Carolina's schedule where it's just every week is a top 20 opponent. K-State has a chance to get right, and with the new college football playoffs and how it's laid out, it's not like the BCS. This is BCS. K-State's done. Congratulations. Season's already over. Right? I mean, it really would be. Now there's still a chance. Thank you, college football playoff.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk about what took place after the game, and then we'll get into some Chiefs' final observations from the final preseason game. We'll get into those things. We'll hear from the Chiefs coming up about an hour from now. Andy Reid, some players will be there. We'll talk with Joel Penfield a couple of hours from now. Mick Schaefer in the 1 o'clock hour. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Jack Johnson, Michael Darcy, heading up until 2 o'clock. So let's talk about what took place after the game. And there's been a statement released by Mark and Anthony Johnson, which is the dad and brother to Avery Johnson. This thing, spread pretty quickly after the video came out. They put the statement out that says, "We sincerely apologize for our actions following yesterday's football game in Ireland. Senseless bickering escalated into an unnecessary fight. We have resolved our differences and take full responsibility for our actions. We have apologized to our immediate and extended family and now extend our apologies to Kansas State University, its alumni, and fans. We regret this incident, have learned from it, and are committed to ensuring it doesn't happen again. Please accept our deepest apologies." I mean, there's no other way around it. It was a terrible look. And I don't know what's going on in their family. No idea what the relationship is like there. Have no idea if alcohol was involved. Have no idea what led to that situation. But it is a situation and a circumstance where you have to know who you are.
Yeah.
Like, you have to know that you are the father and brother of the face of Kansas State's football program. From a player standpoint, I mean, obviously most programs' face is the head coach. But right now, it's Avery Johnson, a guy that people are talking about, candidate to, maybe win the Heisman, helping this team get to a Big 12 championship game. And after the first game, after a loss, this happens. Like, I hate it for Avery Johnson because he's put in a really difficult position. He'll be asked about it. Chris Kleiman will be asked about it. I don't know what they'll say, how they'll answer it, other than probably it's a family matter. It's been resolved. It's all good. We're moving forward. We're focusing on football. Could be something as easy as that. But Avery Johnson's also a guy that, has his brand to worry about, is getting a lot of money in NIL, is a public figure around Manhattan, and now this is something extra on top of that loss and how you played to deal with, and it's incredibly irresponsible by the family to do that when you're there supposed to be supporting your brother/son, and then something as selfish as that happens because you're not supporting him then. In fact, you're putting him in a tougher position now moving forward, and I appreciate the statement, but the statement's unnecessary if there were grown-ups making better decisions at that time to not get into a fist fight with a father and your brother, father and son, very public, and not, we'll handle this later. We'll handle it later. We'll handle it later. Not the time, not the place. We'll handle it later. There's no reason this would ever need to happen. And it's yet another quarterback in the area that has to deal with family members.
I can't even imagine fist fighting your dad, let alone
I can imagine
at a game.
Your dad. I'm just joking.
I mean, I can't. Like, I just find that so ridiculous, especially in that moment. I don't know what transpires. What has to happen to get to that level? What has to happen between a father and son to get to that level when you're going there? Obviously, you went together, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're in the same group. So obviously there has to be some sort of a decent relationship there. What transpires in the course of, it's college football, so a 4.5-hour game that leads to a brawl between you? I can't even dream of what would happen in the 4 hours that transpired of, all right, we're here together, to I'm going to try and fist fight a relative.
My son.
Or my dad.
Whichever one was whoever was the instigator, but still.
That to me is just absurd.
Neither were the grown-up that were there.
Correct.
It's really baffling to me that, after a game like this and you're out in the parking lot, you're out walking to wherever your next destination would be, there's a chance that maybe they were getting taunted by Iowa State fans, because it's very obvious that, you're wearing two custom-made Avery Johnson jerseys. I'm sure somebody made the assumption that they were related to him, and Iowa State fans and K-State fans don't like each other. There is a rivalry there, and I almost wonder if there was bickering going on. One of the relatives wanted to get into it with those people, and then it turned into, well, you're not doing that, and they go at it, and also let's just point out that I'm sure alcohol was a big factor in this, right? You're not fighting your relative unless you are, under the influence, and you've been at a football game, and it's Ireland too, so everybody's been drinking, and you're running the concessions out of beer. But the thing that sucks is that Avery Johnson has nothing to do with this. I mean, he just unfortunately gets roped into it because you're family members. In the same way we've seen with Patrick Mahomes, when his father has gotten in trouble, there's been weirdos out there. They're like, well, this is Patrick's fault for not doing this, this, and that. Like, Avery Johnson's probably still in the locker room when this happens, and looks on his phone, and that's what goes down.
Well, I mean, Avery Johnson might be at the podium with Chris Kleiman there talking and answering questions at the same time that this is taking place outside the stadium. I mean, as I'm watching it, I'm like, how irresponsible for you're there. What's the reason you're there? Who's the reason you're there?
Yeah.
You're there to support Avery. And that's the last thing that you were actually doing in that moment. I don't know what led up to that, but somehow, some way, that has to be avoided and not happening. I appreciate the statement, but it's a tough spot to be in now for Avery Johnson. It's a tough spot for Kansas State because around the overall program, it's something else to add on to what obviously would have turned out to be a pretty disastrous trip for K-State. And going there, playing that way, losing the way you lost, 5 of 6 now to Matt Campbell for Chris Kleiman. That happening after the game, having to have statements released by family members, and the next time Avery Johnson is at the podium, will have to answer for his family members, his older brother and his dad, not his younger brother and his friend or something. Getting in, hey, you're like Patrick Mahomes is answering for his younger brother, who was living in this area with a millionaire older brother, $100 millionaire older brother, and feeling like he can just live off the name, and was incredibly immature and dumb and made some really bad decisions. It's different to try to answer for your little brother being dumb and irresponsible. It's tough if you're Avery Johnson having to answer for your older brother and your father getting into this situation. It sucks all around, and I feel bad for Avery.
Yeah.
And the K-State football program. It's not something else that they need to deal with because in today's day and age with how things, I mean, there's video everywhere.
You get a Tyrese Halliburton it where you say, hey, sorry, your dad can no longer come to the games.
It's a question that I think, I mean, it'd be different maybe if he was fighting. I don't know. That's what it's like.
It's like
if he's fighting Iowa State fans or, goes down on the field and is like Tyrese Halliburton's dad and talking crap to an Iowa State player or something, or the coaching staff, it might be different. But this is a family issue. It's between family members. I don't know that then results into, well, you can't come to games anymore because of the family issue. Whereas Tyrese Halliburton's dad walked onto the court and almost got into a fight with Giannis.
Yeah.
At the actual game, which
good call,
would keep you from attending games again. So I don't think this is a situation to where, hey, dad, brother, you guys can't go to the game anymore. I think they're perfectly fine to go to the game. It's just whatever took place obviously cannot ever happen again, and hopefully they get it resolved and figured out. And they have, according to the statement, I hope they have got it resolved and figured out. The statement says they have. But
did they say in the statement learned from it? Because that would be one of my pet peeves. You don't need to learn to not fight your dad or your son.
It says, senseless bickering escalated into an unnecessary fight. We have resolved our differences and take full responsibility for the actions. We've apologized to our immediate and extended family. Now extend our apologies to Kansas State University, its alumni fans. We regret this incident, have learned from it, and are committed to ensuring it doesn't happen again.
You always, in any apology, you have to say, I learned from it.
Well, you can learn.
Sure, you can learn.
What led up to this, don't do it again.
They learn, father, son, don't fight each other.
Well, yeah, but
that shouldn't be something you learn.
Well, you can also learn that whatever happened in that moment that led up to it, all right, now, next time you're in that situation, hey, this happened, and it led up to this. We learned from it. We're going to handle it differently.
There you go.
I think that's real. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk some Chiefs football, and we'll continue talking Chiefs in the 11 o'clock hour as well. We'll hear from Andy Reid. We'll hear from some different players as they wrapped up preseason football. They are now getting ready, full-on preparation for the Los Angeles Chargers in Brazil. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. Oh, yeah, the rivalries, the marching bands, the upsets. Saturdays just got way more fun because college football is back. Hey, you think you know the game? Well, if you do, then put your knowledge to the test. With DraftKings Sportsbook, you can turn your picks into big payouts. They've got live betting. They've got rivalry week odds boost this week. They had odds boost over the weekend with some of those week 0 games, with whether it's K-State, Iowa State, KU taking on Fresno and winning that game and taking care of business by the 14-point spread that it ended up being. They've got the odds boost and more. DraftKings Sportsbook, everything you need to own every Saturday. And how about Thursday football, Friday football, Saturday football, Sunday football this upcoming weekend. And something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers, bet $5 and you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. $300. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB for new customers to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Kansas only. Eligibility restrictions apply. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Get ready for a new NFL season with exclusive preseason coverage on Sports Radio 810 WHB. From the preseason to the NFL Championship, your home for the best football coverage is Sports Radio 810.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Jack Johnson hanging out with us, heading up until noon when we'll talk with Joel Penfield. And then at 1 o'clock, Mick Schaefer will join us. We'll have some Learn Funniest Best with Mick Schaefer. We'll continue talking some Chiefs here and into the 11 o'clock hour. 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us. 913-912-4810. Text line to be a part of the show, part of the conversation.
Glossing over KU.
No, that's what I want to get into.
Jack's right here, like
No, that's what I want to. That's what I want to
wearing
get into.
the blue shorts, ready to
And
just.
they're Royals.
No,
Oh, there's a Royals
Don't
one.
worry. And a Chiefs shirt.
Yeah.
Doesn't really match.
That's what I want to get into. And we'll talk, obviously, Chiefs for a couple of hours or so. But I had them minus the points. I also had K-State winning as well. But I didn't expect it to be that easy. I thought there would be. I thought there would be the emotional boost from opening up the booth. I thought there would be that. But, I mean, it was domination is what it was. And again, it's week number 1, and week 1 is always going to be the overreaction week that takes place. But winning 31-7, completely controlling the game, Jalen Daniels looking good, Highshaw looking good, right out of the gates getting Emmanuel
Henderson.
Thank you. Into the game. I almost, for whatever reason, I wanted to call him Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah. 45-year-old Emmanuel Sanders.
Why would Emmanuel Sanders be going back? He's going back to school. Good for him. He's getting
It's like J.R. Smith when he went back to, and he's on the golf
100%.
team.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Only this is football. How do you do that? I don't know. But they take care of business, and obviously it's a good feeling coming out of that. We'll have Hawk Talk with Lance Leipold coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. If I'm right about that, we'll find out. I don't know. It was on the schedule, so hopefully that's the case. I don't think I read the schedule wrong this go around.
The connection in the phone booth was electric. It was strong.
It was.
I'm calling it the phone booth, by the way.
Phone booth.
It's the booth.
It's the booth. It's the phone
Nice.
booth.
Well, yeah. Why can't it be the kissing booth? Why can't it be the dunk?
I didn't
tank
see
booth?
Christian Wilkins in there, so I
That's
don't
a
think
good
it can be
point.
the kissing booth.
Why can't he go back to school? I mean, we just put Emmanuel Sanders back on KU, so why can't we put Christian Wilkins on KU? What did you think would happen, Jack, going into this game and then coming out with the victory? And that was just, you know what it felt like? It felt like a 3-hour party for KU and opening up the booth.
Yeah, I mean, you go back, prior to the Lance Leipold era, week 1, I know it was week 0, but first game of the year, we'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
You either had that win or sometimes not even that win, and you knew it was going to be a long, long season. And, I was nervous going into this game because it is national television. You are in the spotlight, and, man, I did have this dark thought in the back of my mind of, they lose this game in a new stadium to Fresno State. I mean, last year they were tortured by all these one-score losses and, coughing the game up, couldn't hold any lead in the final 2 minutes. But to see pure and utter domination, it's they play Wagner this Friday.
Yeah.
It's one thing to do that to Wagner where it's just never really close. I'm not saying Fresno State is great by any means, but they have had their successful years in the past where coming into it I thought, it'll be close in the first half, and then I'm sure KU can just cover that 14-point spread, and you feel good about it. I'm not even sure the 31-7 really dictates how dominant that performance was for Kansas. And I always thought, too, with Matt Lubick coming back, and you've got Jim Zabrowski as well, you had that creativity that Andy Kotelnicki had, where last year there was just this huge emphasis on throw the ball down the field, try to take chances, where this was more so of creativity, but just take what they're giving you. Jalen Daniels had a 90% completion percentage because it was just schemed up to go wide open, boom, run the ball, screenplay, quarterback run, and everything looked so effortless for them. And the defense, awful first drive, didn't allow a point the rest of the way. In fact, they barely allowed any yards the rest of the way. So it was a packed house. The new intro video apparently was really, really cool. The light show was really cool. And
just Todd Reesing on repeat.
I think it's the redone Enter Sandman that they used to do with the fighter jet, and they just updated it. So it seemed like a lot of fans loved that. It seemed like the atmosphere was great, and I'm sure that a lot of people can't wait for Friday now.
Yeah. Highshaw looked good. Leon Williams looked pretty good, or LaShawn Williams, either one. I think Leon's his brother. I don't think he got in a fight. But LaShawn Williams looked pretty good. There was some juice that was out there from the offense, which, again, we talked with Brian Haney about Emmanuel Henderson. Hey, Emmanuel Henderson, this is going to be the guy. They're going to, it's going to be the fastest player that Jalen Daniels has had. But he wasn't the only one that looked fast out on the field. And I think that's one of the takeaways I had from watching this game. Also, again, I think it also goes back to the mistake that was made with Grimes. Instead of just elevating Zabrowski last year, that, okay, you lose somebody, you lose Ketelnicki, we're going to go get Grimes, who was just relieved of his duties as an offensive coordinator. We're going to have him come in here, and Zabrowski's going to be co-offensive coordinator with him. Okay, well, it kind of seems like that would have been quarterback's coach to just simply offensive coordinator to keep that connection. Yeah, just to keep the connection that was there, the continuity between the two. I mean, the voice in Jalen Daniels' ear the whole time he's been there after Les Miles' staff was gone was Zabrowski. It's been the voice in his ear, and then it's somebody else as the OC. I mean, Zabrowski, Ketelnicki, and then it's somebody else for a year. And I think there's an element of admitting the mistake by when Grimes leaves, then you elevate Zabrowski and go, let's just go with the guys here that we know, that we understand how they work, what they're going to be doing. And we're not going to try to take Grimes and have him then run our offense instead of going and hiring an offensive coordinator to run his offense. We're going to make him pick up what we do and try to go through that, then just simply have Zabrowski be your OC. Now, we'll see what happens in week 1, 2, 3, on down the line. But game one, out of the gates, it looked like a much more cohesive and schemed and game-planned offense where guys were open. And by the way, Jalen Daniels looking like he was just in complete control.
He's a veteran now, though. I mean
6 years.
This is what you want him to look like when you've – and this is why I think a lot of times teams – I mean, you look at Ohio State with Will Howard last year. It's not like Will Howard's the best quarterback in the world, but just being a veteran, a lot of times you trust those guys to help win you games. We see the same thing in college basketball all the time. Which team has the most juniors and seniors? Who are the teams that have been around? I think it's the same thing for quarterback in college football. It's why I like KU a lot this year is because of Jalen Daniels, obviously. There's more to it than that. After the first drive, I was laughing like 7-7. This is going to be 48-42. It's going to be KU yet again, and that defense they found a way to. You're right. It wasn't just no more points. It was just stopped. Fresno State was done after that. And you're right. 31. KU could put up way more points than that. They Andy Reid style. They said, "Hey, we're done. All right, we're done here, guys. We're done." But yeah, man, you're right, because Fresno State's not Wagner. Fresno State's not a great team. It's not Iowa State, but it's not like Fresno State is just this horrific Central Arkansas. I don't want to say horrific, but they're still a decent brand.
Not an FCS team.
Yes, and so that's massive for KU, especially again. You're right, opening the booth that could have been disastrous. A lot of pressure, obviously, on a lot of those guys.
Yeah, I mean it's just that the scar tissue from so many years where you had the preseason hype and they didn't live up to it. Last year, even though I think they played Lindenwood in week 1, it was barely into barely around to play Division I teams, and KU beat them up pretty good. But after that, it was just this roller coaster of a strange season. And I do believe a lot of it goes back to Jeff Grimes and how he ran the offense. And now you've got something that was much closer to those successful years in 2023 and 2022, where the offense was the reason. Now it's one game, and we'll see what Wagner looks like. I'm sure it might be a little bit more reserved play calling.
I would hope so.
Because you have Missouri the next week after that in Columbia. But, yeah, great start and great atmosphere, and hopefully a lot more games that look like that.
Yeah, I think the game Thursday and the game Friday will be a lot of generic plays ran by both teams. I think, KU came out, game plan schemed, wanted to throw some things at Fresno State, make sure you come out and make a statement. Wagner, you dial it back, you go generic. Mizzou, probably generic against Central Arkansas, running both quarterbacks out there. I'm guessing Eli will not announce who the actual starter for the season is going to be, even ahead of KU, even in week 2, even if he decides one guy has won the job like they decided 2 years ago when it was Brady Cook and Sam Horn.
Play a game right now. Who starts the most games for Mizzou this year?
I think it's Prebula.
I agree.
I think, again, but I go back to what I said last week. I hope that's I would like to that if Sam Horn wins the job or is named the starter, to me it means that he legit won the job because he's getting the starting nod over a guy that you paid 7 figures to come in and play quarterback. if Prabula gets the nod, there's a little bit of, hey, next NIL quarterback, if we give you the money, don't worry, you're coming here to be the starter, not, well, hold on, you gave Prabula that money and he didn't even start. So do I want to go to Mizzou? And if there's a guy that's already there that's known the system for a couple of years, I'm not going to be the starter. I'll go somewhere else.
You
if I'm
still
gonna
get paid,
7
though.
figures.
Money still spins.
Yeah, but I don't think Prabula's going to Mizzou
No,
so
no.
he could be a backup.
Agreed.
the way that he was earlier. So good debut for KU against Fresno State. Rough one for Kansas State. We'll see how they respond. Mizzou gets things started on Thursday. Chiefs tomorrow will make their cut downs to 53. We'll hear from Andy and players tomorrow before cut down, which is smart,
Of course.
Do that. We'll talk Chiefs next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Jack Johnson hanging out with us until noon. Coming up at noon, we'll talk with Joel Penfield. 1 o'clock, Mick Schaefer. Learn Funniest Best with Mick Schaefer. He's KSHB 41 Sports Director. Let's talk about observations from the Chiefs' final preseason game. The main observation I have is that we said all last year that it was not going to be able to continue with them winning these one-score games. And now they have lost their last 2 one-score games.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I mean, week 1 of the preseason and week 3 of the preseason, they're 0-2 in one-score games, 0-3 overall. Chiefs have lost 6 straight preseason games. They have, I think they've won a Super Bowl since their last preseason game win, so that's good.
17-point lead heading into the fourth quarter, and they lose?
Yeah,
Wow.
19-point comeback by the Bears. That was really tough, really unfortunate. No, obviously, who cares? Who cares about that? And the 19
The Bears care.
Scored. They did.
Bears fans are going to be
And the
insufferable.
fourth stringers for the Chiefs cannot be thrilled with their execution.
That's
That's
probably
actually
right.
a good call.
Yeah, it was Johnny Carter, unfortunately. That was a rough couple of plays for him and giving up the touchdown. But observations, I mean, the first-team offense looks like the first-team offense that we've hoped for a couple of years that the Chiefs' offense would look like. Part of it is the offensive line. We had our concerns and our questions about Kingsley Suamataia going into the game. Josh Simmons, I'd wondered about, the leaning, the bending, the not necessarily using the arms, but man, he could really stalk. He could, his balance was there, his power was there, mirroring was there. All of that was really good for Josh Simmons, but man, there was a lot of bending over and, not really punching and using his arms all that well and his hands all that well. So that looks to be a lot better. But again, he's a rookie that has only played a few games in the last couple of years, but you can already tell how good he's going to be. This was a big one for Kingsley Suamataia. And the Chiefs came out of the gates, and they wanted to make a statement that the Seahawks game was not who they are. I think they wanted to make a statement that we're ready for the regular season. And the defense did that early on. But the offense, they have 24 plays and 23 points, the first-team offense so far this year.
Not bad.
They're scoring on their drives when Patrick Mahomes is in the game. They put 17 points on the board in this one, and it could have easily been 21 if it wasn't for the Kareem Hunt dropped touchdown in which Mahomes, made that would have been such a great highlight because you had Trey Smith with 2 pancakes on that play specifically, Mahomes rolling and then finding Kareem Hunt for the touchdown. Like that could have been a really awesome highlight. Instead, it's a low light for Kareem Hunt and dropping the football. But the number one takeaway was how good the offensive line looked against 3 of the 4 starting defensive linemen for the Chicago Bears. The only one that wasn't in there was Grady Jarrett, and Chris Williams and Andrew Billings were there. I would have liked to see Kingsley going up against Grady Jarrett to get a real look at him. He went up against the second and third string for the Chicago Bears at defensive tackle, but also NFL players that have been around a number of years. And he looked pretty good in doing that. Josh Simmons looked good in doing that. Obviously, Creed and Trey looked good in the game. It was a really dominant performance, and I think a performance from the offensive line that has set Chiefs fans' minds at ease a little bit getting ready for the Chargers because, yes, this time last week I was wondering if it was time to see some snaps with Jalen Moore or, Caliendo.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, you should probably see some of those with the first team if Kingsley's going to keep getting beat quickly and have quick losses in the passing game. And in the 3 possessions he was out there, he had 1 quick loss in the passing game. And that was the touchdown to Rashee Rice. So it did not matter. But Kingsley, multiple times, was set up with an inside swim move. And a couple of times he was able to recover and get back, mainly because Creed Humphrey was right there sort of causing a traffic jam for the guy that was, slipping to his inside. Odeyingo was the guy that a couple of times had tried that swim move. And then that particular play, he got set up again, but Creed was not near him, so it was a quick loss for him. Other than that, that one play, I thought he looked really good. The run game looked good. The touchdown to Pacheco was with Creed, Trey, and Kingsley getting over there. Josh Simmons had an amazing block, too. Like, there was a guy that was lined up almost right over Creed Humphrey, and Josh Simmons got to him to wall him off. Like, that is not easy to do, and it shows the athleticism that the Chiefs like about that. I thought the offensive line looked really good against 3 of the 4 defensive players that will be starting week 1 for the Chicago Bears. So that was great, and Mahomes had all day to throw.
I love the deep ball to Tyquan Thornton.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's going to be integrated more in the offense, more than just a talking about it in preseason, more of an actuality in the regular season. Would have liked to see Tyquan Thornton maybe stay up on his feet, but I'm not going to complain too much about at least catching the 58-yarder, because last year catching the 58-yarder was a thing that did not happen, so let's not get too greedy here. Pacheco, again, looks more like the old Pacheco, dare I say, with slightly better vision.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe not. But either way,
Still the same guy.
Pacheco looks like a useful running back. He looks more like the guy we saw prior to getting injured against the Bengals versus the guy we saw post-injury as the season ended up last season. But yeah, overall, they needed to make a statement early on. They did make a statement early on, and I cannot wait for the first game that really matters for the Chiefs because, again, I'm all in on this Chiefs offense. I think there's going to be a huge I know people are saying reversion to the mean in one-score games. I think a reversion to the offense that we saw in 2022 versus what we saw the past couple seasons.
Yeah, I think what's being missed in the one-score wins last year is the possibility of the Chiefs getting better on offense and not being in one-score games as much.
You know, honestly, it was just because the first 2 preseason games, we got one throw from Patrick Mahomes. To see the offense out there for an extended period of time and to see Patrick Mahomes throw the football in the pocket with a clean pocket. I mean, just the pleasing part of that, the aesthetically pleasing part of it, where you've got a quarterback there that really had all time. I know it's against second stringers and it's preseason football and who really cares, but just to see some of these plays open up, to actually see an offense operate like that, it did feel like a breath of fresh air because last year, though they won 15 games in the regular season, you had very few games where it was, wow, I mean, that offense is getting whatever they want to. We saw it the year before that with, Juju and MVS, or probably 2 years before that, with Juju and MVS in their first year. And some of those times they could put up, 30-plus points on the road with ease. And last year, it almost felt like a miracle if they were to put up 30-plus points. So just to see that offense back in action, utilizing everybody on the field, that was my favorite takeaway from it.
Yeah, they have, I think it's 20, let's see, they scored 17 on Friday night, right? The offense, starting offense, 2 touchdowns and a field goal, and then they scored a touchdown. So they have run 24 plays, I guess. Is it technically they've run 23 because of the whole,
the penalty
and all that? Either way, let's say 24 plays, 24 points so far for the Chiefs and those drives. And it was a short drive in week 1. Mahomes didn't have to do much. But one of my other takeaways was we don't see Mahomes throw the back shoulder. We haven't seen him really do that at all in his career. And he's got 2 touchdown passes in this preseason, and those 2 touchdown passes are back shoulder throws, one to Brownlee and then one to Rashee Rice.
That's the one that may be the most intriguing.
And I tweeted it out, and there were multiple people that replied with the same GIF, and it was Happy learned how to putt.
Yeah.
Because I tweeted out, I'm like, oh, sure, give the best quarterback in the NFL another trick in his bag by the back shoulder throws, which he hasn't really used in his career. And it was exactly that. It was like, Mahomes learned how to throw back shoulder to wide receivers.
I think 2 things on this. One, a lot of times back shoulder comes with time with a single wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
We know Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, and how long did that take for that development to happen? And 2, I actually would like to know, and maybe Packers fans have a better understanding. When did Aaron Rodgers get great at back shoulder throws? Was it his first year starting? Was it year 5, year 7, year 8 in the NFL? Was it only when he got Devontae Adams? Because I would like to know that, because we always think of Aaron Rodgers, to me, at least my perspective, as he might be the best back shoulder thrower of the ball I've ever seen. And I would love to know when that development came in his career, because who knows, maybe early on he wasn't doing that either, but we just remember him now because he's 41, so he's years 9 through 20 for him, we all remember. I would love to know that, because this does seem like an evolution for Patrick, and I do hope it's a situation where him and Rice have that mind meld that Devontae and Rodgers had.
I think nothing in the NFL is easy, but I think Rashee Rice on the outside one-on-one at the 5-yard line, I think that's easy money, because you can back shoulder it, or if somebody is going to play it short thinking a back shoulder, well, then you can just throw it over the top with Rashee Rice, who's a really good jump ball catcher. That's one thing that he creates. It makes it really difficult to guard that, because any other time you'd watch the film, if you were a defensive back, and, I don't have to worry about the back shoulder. I just have to worry about going over the top in the fade, so I'm going to overplay that. Well, you hit him a couple of times with this, and you can no longer overplay that fade to the corner of the end zone. Now you've got to play it straight up, and he still might be able to body you and catch the football, because that's what Rashee Rice has to offer. I thought, that those 2 touchdown passes were pretty significant for Patrick Mahomes moving forward, because he hasn't done that. And it seems like something that the Chiefs have wanted him to do, because they've gotten different receivers that feel like that could be part of their game.
Yeah, I mean, you have this offense which has so many weapons, a different variety of them as well. You've got, your tight ends. You've got 3 of them technically to be red zone targets. You've got a couple of running backs that have been using the screen game, but how often have they run into a spot like that, 3rd and goal inside the 10-yard line, and where you just would want somebody to go jump ball, right? Go out there and just, back corner of the end zone. We'll take our chances one-on-one. We know Rashee Rice is an excellent route runner. It's why he's been so phenomenal in those slant routes and, getting open within 10 yards. He can be that guy, and he's also athletic enough to be, and really it's going to come down to trusting that he makes the right move, trusting that he runs the right route. And there's so many special things you have to do to complete that. It's not just the throw. It's how you have to get the defender in a certain spot. And yeah, maybe Rashee Rice is that guy, because as we'd like to say, well, get somebody who's 6'6" and just throw it up there. This is the NFL too. There are cornerbacks that know how to defend that. So a big part of it is getting that cornerback or that safety in such a non-advantageous spot, I guess I should say, and a disadvantage.
Disadvantageous.
I knew I was going to say, I didn't know I was trying to go there, but to do that, and Rashee Rice absolutely has that capability. Just hope that he's not going to be out for an extended period of time.
Well, it's going to be perfect. It's perfect connection, because the cornerbacks don't know where to go there either.
Yeah.
With that. So do they go with the back shoulder fade? Do they go over the top? Let's hear from Patrick Mahomes. This is clip number 4. Mahomes after the game on Friday night. This is specifically about that bubble screen to Rashee Rice for 9 yards, and was asked about getting the ball to Rashee Rice in those particular plays and these bubble screens. But I think it's a bigger point to make about that connection.
It's another threat, I mean, Rashee gets those screens like that, and he gets 15, 20 yards, and that kind of crushes a defense when they're worried about us going deep, and then all of a sudden we're hitting screens and getting the same explosive plays. That kind of completes the offense. And so having a guy like Rashee, and then I think Xavier can do that stuff. I think Hollywood can do that stuff, and then I think Royals can do that stuff. And so it's having a couple guys, a couple versions of guys that can go out there and make those plays happen. It keeps the defense guessing on kind of where we're attacking on the field.
I know that Kelsey has always been a guy, the security blanket, or Mahomes is going to go to Kelsey, and it's a big play, so it's Mahomes to Kelsey. Tyreek Hill was a guy that was, bleep it, Tyreek down there somewhere. Great route runner that he turned into be, because the speed he could play off of. But I don't know that there's been a receiver with Patrick Mahomes that you would just say, hey, we need 8 yards. Okay, throw it real quick to Rashee Rice. Right, we need 10 yards. Let's just get the ball to Rashee. Bubble screen or a quick slant to Rashee Rice. We need like 10 or 11 yards. All right, it's first down. Let's get the let's get the drive started quickly. Boom, here a little quick slant to Rashee Rice. Catch the ball, break a tackle. Oh, 2nd and 1. Or it's, first down again now. Instead of being at the 30-yard line, now you're at the 41. Oh, nice job. Here we go. Now we're rolling. I don't remember a player like that it was just nothing is automatic in the NFL, but it kind of feels like throw it to Rashee Rice, here's 7 or 8 yards or 9 yards, like it was on the bubble screen, here's 9 yards. It was well blocked too. Should point that out with Trey and Creed and even Kingsley getting over there to help out with the bubble screen. But still, it's, all right, boom, here's, throw the ball to Rashee, here's 10 yards. It seems too easy and automatic in a league that there is not that, but I think it goes to show the talent and the connection and the way the Chiefs have utilized Rashee Rice and that it feels like that.
Do you know how many, 2023, yards after catch?
Rashee Rice?
Yes.
He was, once he started, getting a lot of the workload, he was one of the best.
Third in the entire NFL in yards after catch, and if you look at the numbers, the percentage has to be number one. CeeDee Lamb was number one with 680 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown was 668. Rashee Rice third was 653. Rashee Rice only
rookie year?
This was his rookie year. He had 79
I
receptions.
guess it would have to be his rookie year.
Last year, yeah.
He had 600 yards after contact in 3 games. Wow.
79 receptions compared to Amon-Ra's 119 and CeeDee's 135.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at just yards after catch,
per reception.
I mean, it was astronomical.
Yeah.
So this is, to your point, and to obviously Patrick's, he's one of the few guys in the NFL. I know the Chiefs have been wanting this guy, but just Tyreek was 4th that year, by the way. They had it in Tyreek. Yeah. But Rashee Rice is so good. There's only a handful of guys you can even say on the same level as him in yards after catch. I'm not saying he's as good as Amon-Ra or CeeDee Lamb or Jamar Chase, but he is as good, if not better, in the yards after catch category as those guys. And again, for what this offense has devolved into over the past few years, they have counted, and that's why the offense still looked really solid in 2023 because of Rashee Rice. In 2022, because Juju Smith-Schuster still had some of that, but also I think Travis Kelce was one of the best, if not the best, tight end in yards after catch. So Rashee Rice getting back and hopefully playing a lot of the season, being healthy, this is what this offense is predicated on. That then, in turn, opens up things for guys like Tyquan Thornton down the field.
And in 2023, that was the year that Tyreek Hill had 1,800 receiving yards. So his yards after catch, because also some of those too, yards after catch from Tyreek Hill running in the middle of the field, schemed open, catching it and taking it 60 more yards for a touchdown. Or taking it 35 more yards for a touchdown. I think that's a little bit different in yards after catch, or yards after catch when you're just streaking down the field and he catches it at the 30-yard line and picks up 30 more yards after catch because he's broken away and broken free. That's the speed that he has. There aren't many Rashee Rice yards after catch that are those. There was the one in 2023 against the Bengals when it was Mahomes and Rashee Rice on the same page. It was supposed to be some sort of a slant or a different route. Nobody was playing over the top. Rashee Rice saw the opening. I think he faked inside, and it might have been Cam Taylor-Britt, and then just blew past him and stuck his arm in the air, and Mahomes saw it and threw to him. And it was one of the things after the game was over, Mahomes was saying, yeah, we hadn't even practiced that. That was just Rashee Rice saw it. I saw it too. He gets past him, and that was that long run down, long reception, catch, and then run down the field. He got caught at like the 10-yard line with against the Bengals. That's one of the few times I can remember like a Rashee Rice catch and run being that, as opposed to what we saw on Friday night, a Rashee Rice catch at the line of scrimmage, and then he picks up 9 yards. What we saw early in the season last year, week number 1 last year against the Ravens, like that opening drive was, here's Rashee Rice, 11 yards, and he caught it on a quick slant 3 yards out, and then ran, broke a tackle, and picked up 11 or 12 more yards. Like that was constant last year, and I don't know the last player that the Chiefs had that it was throw him the ball at the line of scrimmage or a couple of yards past the line of scrimmage in a quick slant, and he's going to pick up 11 or 12 yards. There was you drop back in the pocket, Kelce does his route, figures out where he's going to be, and then you connect with Kelce. But blocking scheme doesn't matter if you can quick slant to Rashee Rice and let him pick up 9 or 10 yards. Blocking scheme can matter if Kelce's running an option route or Tyreek Hill's running a 15-yard, dig, or if he's running an over route. Like you need a little bit time for that to develop. Bubble screen, get the ball, throw it out there, the guys go and block. Quick slant, Mahomes takes a snap, boom, fires it, or an RPO, pull it, throw it to Rashee Rice and let him run. That's also going to be the impact with him not there. The number of games that he's going to miss, because he is become that guy that if the offense gets into some quicksand or something, you need 10 yards, throw it to Rashee Rice. They did throw it deep to Tyquan Thornton. Here is Patrick Mahomes. Let's play clip number 2. This is Patrick Mahomes. Actually, you know what? This is clip number 3. I apologize. Clip number 3. This is Patrick Mahomes on what that pass to Tyquan Thornton does and what it will do this year for the offense.
Defenses are going to have to play us the way that they played us kind of at the end of these last few years, and how they played today. We got to be able to win on the outside. And even the play early in the game that Rashee got the face mask, thought he made a good adjustment on the ball before that. And so if they're going to be one-on-one on the outsides, and we can make plays, it puts them into the, you kind of saw today, you puts them into the shell coverages, and then Trav starts getting going and stuff like that. And so in order to be the best version of ourselves, we have to be able to prove game by game that we can hit these deep passes. And if we do that, it opens up the rest of the offense, and everybody can get going.
Kelsey with the 2 catches, 32 yards. It's a good point on the Rashee Rice early on because that was also a back shoulder throw to Rashee Rice, and it resulted in 1 pass interference, 2 face mask. I didn't realize both of those were enforced. So you got the pass interference, and then they throw the face mask on top of it? I thought it was just either or. You know, face mask declined, they accept the penalty of pass interference down the field. Like, oh, okay. You know, both of those are enforced. That's great, you know?
Well, they changed it this year because the Chiefs got the calls.
Well, they changed it on that play.
Yeah, just for the Chiefs.
Just for that one. They actually called up.
You didn't see Bengals fans and Bills fans talking about that?
Oh, I saw Bears fans bitching about Trey Smith's pancake, calling it a block in the back.
Because they don't know ball. How can you be so loud and so wrong? I told you, Bears fans. You didn't listen to me.
I don't think it's Bears fans. I think it's just dummies. I think people are searching so badly for the refs and all of this stuff that even in a preseason game, a play that Trey Smith makes when he has 2 pancakes, they're actually saying that was a block in the back.
Because they don't know ball, Jason.
Now, that person then admitted he was wrong, but my question to you would be, did he delete the initial tweet that has hundreds of thousands of views and people complaining about the Chiefs?
No, he did not. No.
Of course not.
I thought I saw one, too, where the guy didn't do it, and he goes, LOL, Chiefs fans are mad right now. And I was like, you didn't win the argument. You were wrong.
You're dumb. It's not a block in the back. It's in the pocket.
I love it. It's like everyone knows you're wrong. You're like, rent free. And you're like, well, you're wrong, though. I don't get this.
Or the constant trying to tear down the dynasty and everything that the Chiefs are cheating. And then, what a sensitive fan base. I mean, so sensitive fan base. I mean, they're all like trying to bring facts and arguments and stuff to the table and actually, you know, reality and stuff. They're so, don't say the refs help them because then they're going to be sensitive. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's sort of how it goes. I guess Patriots fans are pretty sensitive as well. Were they the most sensitive fan base when everybody's like, oh, dynasty's over, oh, Spygate, Deflategate? I mean, you say Tom Brady deflated footballs, the amount of Patriots fans that come out of the woodworks explaining the ideal gas law. I mean, Patriots fans were so sensitive that they studied the ideal gas law.
They all went to Harvard. Harvard actually did a class for them.
Yes, based on the Paktika. Based on Brady. They learned something. Well, I guess you don't understand about how footballs inflate and deflate in different weather, huh? I guess you don't understand that. I'm not saying he actually deflated the footballs. I just think it's great that you guys are so sensitive that that's the case. Maybe the most sensitive fan base out there. I don't know. Or maybe it's just any fan base. It's just the Chiefs are really good right now, and so there's 31 other teams that are trying to tear it down. Either way, that brings us to Rashee Rice and Tyquan Thornton and throwing the ball deep, like Patrick Mahomes said, of what that will do to they've talked about it for 2 years.
Yeah.
We've got to throw the ball deep. 2023, got to throw the ball deep. Got to attack over the top. It's not happening. Last year, going into the preseason, we're gonna attack deep. Now Hollywood Brown got injured, obviously, but Xavier Worthy, that's what you draft him for. We're gonna attack deep. We're gonna take it over the top, so teams can't just simply sit underneath on Travis Kelce or the running game, and they couldn't do it because Hollywood got injured. Rashee Rice obviously tears the ACL, changes things. Travis Kelce a step back, a step slower. Offensive line was a disaster. The left side certainly, and then you get into this year, and they talk about it. Well, it's a little bit easier to attack deep if you've got the protection.
Yeah.
And I think the trust is going to have to be there more from Patrick Mahomes, too. You take the good and the bad with Mahomes. There were 2 plays where Mahomes ran into pressure. because it was like, I can't still sit here in the pocket because the clock has run out. I've got to get out of here. It was one of the I think it was the opening drive that was an incomplete pass when he rolled left, and like there's nobody near him. He could have just sat there and sat there and sat there. Instead, he's counting. Get to the back step, look, survey. I gotta go. I gotta get out here to my left, and then escaping to his left. I think it was Odeyingo. I think that's his name. 55 for the Bears that Josh Simmons was blocking. That then was able to get out and have pressure, and then the ball was thrown incomplete. In games like that where it feels like the offensive line is just dominating, I think we may see more of Mahomes just sort of, okay, now I've got trust. Because it's been a couple of years since he could be able to just sit back in a pocket and go, I got all day to throw. I can look around and take my time here and not get out and escape the pocket for, I don't want to say no reason, because last year was a specific reason why he had to do that.
I will also put out Kingsley graded out. Josh Simmons graded out phenomenal on the left side. Kingsley did not, but I thought that was surprising because I thought Kingsley actually had his best game at left guard this preseason, and it ranked, I think, its worst. Josh Simmons graded out as an 85.5 in pass block.
Again, this is where, you can get into the grading, all of this and all of that. Like, I understand why the grades were the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, agreed.
But this one, like, he got beat on one of them. Absolutely. He got beat on one play, and that was the touchdown to Rashee Rice. But Jeff Schwartz has his full breakdown of Kingsley and Josh Simmons. Every single play that they ran. Running plays and passing plays. And there wasn't a play except for that one play when Jeff went, oh yeah, he got beat on. And that was the last play that they were in there.
Yeah.
But every other one, I think he might have said that's the good stuff a couple of times with Kingsley. In fact, even one where a guy was trying to swim, and then he had his hand up in the upper shoulder pads of Kingsley, and Kingsley's left arm was on top of it, and Jeff Schwartz paused it and was like, at this point, you just want to rip down, to get that arm out of there. And Kingsley instead goes up underneath and pushes the arm up. And Jeff Schwartz was like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Well, I guess he's called a Hamilton. He goes, that's a Hamilton block. That's a young guy doing that. That's hard. That's tough to do for a veteran. A Hamilton like that, to get your arm from over to underneath and then take the arm up while you're, anchoring and do it. Like, that is not easy to do. Okay, Kingsley. Like, okay. There you go. Like, there was a little more aggression to it. I thought that was interesting hearing from Jeff Schwartz have his full breakdown of every single play. I'll say this. If you have to ask Jeff Schwartz, hey, what's your PFF grade for Kingsley in the pass game? I don't think he would have it as a 29.
Yeah.
Compared to what we saw. So, again, that's where the grading comes in. But I don't know how the grading is done. The first couple of weeks, the grade looked like what we saw. This week didn't really look like what we saw because I think he did a fine job in the pass protection. He did well.
Yeah, I mean, we so desperately needed to see something like this from Kingsley before the season began.
Yes.
And not to put that much stock into preseason football, but for a guy like him who doesn't have that track record, it's all you have to go off of. It's like in it was spring training in baseball. Like, still having good numbers is better than having bad ones. Unless if you're Bobby Witt Jr. and you hit 210 in spring, who cares? But if you're somebody trying to make the team or win a spot, you got to have good reps. You have to have good games. You have to have some good film on you. And for Kingsley, this was that first time. And honestly, if you gave me these 3 games, which one do I want him to play his best? Probably game number 3.
Yep. Mahomes was out there for a while. He played his best. We'll see what they look like against the Chargers. That also doesn't have that great of a defensive line. Khalil Mack is there, but the overall defensive line for the Chargers, just as the overall defensive line for the Bears, just okay. The main one being a guy that didn't play. Again, but there was only one backup on that defensive line. The 3 of the other 4 are starters for the Chicago Bears. So, take that with a grain of salt as well. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Anybody earn a job, lose a job? I think there was somebody in the game that definitely earned a job. I don't know whether it's the job that he would prefer specifically out of the gates, but he definitely earned a job. We'll talk about that next. overall above average if the left side of the line is above average, because we know what Creed can do. We know what Trey can do. We know what Jawan Taylor can do. Like him or not, it's based on how much money he's making, but we know what he can be as a right tackle. So, yeah, there's certainly an excitement level. Watching the game on Friday, there were a couple of things that stood out, especially in the fourth quarter. One, I want to look at the cornerback spot. We talked about, the way the game ended and the touchdown and everything, and I thought it was a bad sign for Joshua Williams in that he played 13 snaps in the game and it was garbage time with Ajani Carter and a couple of other guys that are well down the depth chart at cornerback. That's Joshua Williams in the game. Carson Steele in the game late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
What I had said, and I think this was with Matt Derrick on Friday, that when we watched the Seahawks game, we had heard before that game Andy Reid saying, we're not going to play the starters, but we want to see some of these guys. We want to give Brett Veach as much information as possible to make these decisions. And they went with the starting offensive line, but Gardner Minshew. And Carson Steele came out and was getting the carries. And it was like, okay, well, if this is any indication, Carson Steele getting these carries early on, it kind of tells you what the Chiefs think of him, that, maybe he's on this 53-man roster. My view of it was completely different. My view of it was, if Andy Reid is telling the truth that he wants to give Brett Veach as much of a information as possible, Carson Steele's out there with the one so they can see what he can do, which wasn't much.
Yeah.
Like, do we need him on this team again this year? Is he a guy that we cannot move on from? And the fact that he's in there late in the game, in the third preseason game, when the starters and the second team are well on the bench, and he's still out there running the football, I thought was a bad sign for Carson Steele as well, that they gave him the ball early on in preseason game number 2, probably didn't see what they wanted to see, and then they, may have moved on from Carson Steele on this team. So I thought those were ominous signs for guys, Joshua Williams, who's been a mainstay for 3 years, and Carson Steele, who was the talk of camp last year, and then got a start in the NFL to be the starting running back for the Chiefs. And it just hasn't gone the way that he would have certainly hoped, and this preseason hasn't gone that way. I think both of those guys are on the wrong side of the 53-man roster right now.
I would agree. I guess I'm just still intrigued on how the cornerback room is going to end up playing out. Like, I still feel like there's a lot of, at least in my opinion, some confusion of how I think it ends up. Is Najee then on the team for sure? So Williams looks like he's on the outside looking in. Where's Christian Roland Wallace fit in the entire equation as well? Do they try and bring in a veteran cornerback? Can you trust Christian Fulton to stay healthy for a full season? Is Trent McDuffie going to be your slot guy, or is he still going to be an outside corner almost exclusively? I think the cornerback room has as many questions as they had heading into camp as they still have after 3 preseason games. Don't know if I love that, right? I don't know if any question has really been answered in that CB room. I think there is some talent there. I think they'll be fine enough. I don't think it's going to be a disaster. But again, I still think the questions you had a month ago are still the same questions you have on August 25th.
The cornerback spot, I think, is going to be interesting because how many cornerbacks do they keep? Because if they keep 6 cornerbacks, because I think they're definitely keeping 4 right now. We know that. It's going to be Trent McDuffie, Christian Fulton, Jalen Watson, Noel Williams. There's 4. If they keep 5, it's obvious that Spags likes Najee Johnson. So I think Najee Johnson's the 5th one. If they're keeping 10 defensive backs overall, safety Brian Cook, safety Shamari Connor, safety Jaden Hicks, safety Chris Roland Wallace. If Mike Edwards is a guy that doesn't make the roster, that makes 4 safeties. And if they're keeping 10 defensive backs, that means they could keep 1 more cornerback. I think Josh Williams is on the wrong side of that. But a guy that I talked about that I think earned himself a job, and it may not be the ultimate job that he wants, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is, and that's Kevin Knowles. The way he's played this preseason and the way he played in that game on Friday. If there's a 6th cornerback, I don't think it's Josh Williams. I think it's Kevin Knowles if they keep a 6th cornerback. A guy that we have not talked about and discussed really at all. If they keep 5 corners and 5 safeties, then I think Kevin Knowles, you hope to get him to the practice squad. He's kind of like a Cooper McDonald to me, that I think other teams are smart enough to see that he may not make it to the practice squad for the Chiefs, where we've heard that they kind of feel the same way about Cooper McDonald, that he's not going to make it to the practice squad, so they're probably going to keep 6 linebackers. But you can keep 6 linebackers. You can keep 10 defensive backs and still have 9 defensive linemen to get to your 25 on the defensive side. But it's a matter of, do you keep Mike Edwards, with Deion Bush being gone for the season? That's tough, but it might be one of those to where Mike Edwards is a IR candidate. But if you're going to keep him, you know you're keeping Roland Wallace, you know you're keeping Hicks, you're keeping Connor, and you're keeping Cook. So that would give you 5 safeties, which means that you would only have 5 cornerbacks. I think it would be risky to have 5 cornerbacks with Christian Fulton and Jalen Watson being as injured as they often are, and Najee Johnson missing the game because of injury.
Agreed.
It might be one of those to where the hand is forced to keep 6 defensive backs. And if they do, I'm going to go with Kevin Knowles being the 6th defensive back. I think he earned a job with the Chiefs, either on the team or 100% practice squad, but I think he may have earned a job with a different team in how he's played this preseason in the games, and certainly how he played on Friday night, and what it looks like with him out on the field. Like, there was often times I had to rewind and go, look, he was directing traffic for where other people should be. And I was like, that's a guy who's been in camp 5 minutes. Yeah. I mean, obviously longer, but he's not a 3-year vet on this team. And if he's doing that, that's something that the Chiefs are going to look at. Do you know where you're supposed to be? What was it, Dave Merritt, that said, if you're out there, you'd better know what your job is.
Yeah.
If you got a couple different positions, that's going to be different. But if you're playing one position, it was a question about Noel Williams.
Yeah, it was Noel.
But it might have been an answer about other guys too, that may be behind Noel Williams, but may have been in front of Kevin Knowles on the depth chart. A guy who I don't think is on the right side of the 53-man roster anymore at cornerback.
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
And where that guy's out there telling everybody else where to go. No, you over here, and he's making some of the calls. I'm like, that's a rookie that's doing those things. I think he may have earned a job with at least a different team, 100% on the practice squad. But if they keep 6 defensive backs, I think Knowles might be a guy they keep.
I don't disagree, because we have seen surprise guys in the CB room make it. Last year it was Christian Roland Wallace. Echo Boydo, I don't know if he started on the team, but Echo Boydo came on pretty early for the Chiefs, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I don't think that's a bad call there, because I do think that the Chiefs, that final secondary spot, has been a wild card.
Yes.
A lot of time it's been someone that we didn't
CRW last year.
That's what I say, CRW and then Echo Boydo. So
yeah.
There's been some guys that you're like, you don't even really think about, and then they make the roster. So I think Kevin Knowles is a good idea there, Jason. Again, whether it's him or a veteran, I think you're kind of right on the Josh Williams track. But Kevin Knowles, if they do go in-house, I think you're right. That might be the guy that the Chiefs could tap.
Yeah, he's a UDFA, UDA, whatever you want to call it, from Florida State, and a guy that, heard a little bit about as camp was going on that, this guy's a pretty good player. This Kevin Knowles. I'm like, yeah, but they got a lot of defensive backs, and they like Josh Williams, and he's been there. It's year number 4 for him, so he understands the system, right? Understands, where he's supposed to be. At least we think that he would understand where he's, quote unquote, supposed to be. But yeah, I think he's a guy that is impressed. I think there are a couple of guys that may be on this team that people would not have guessed would have been on the team earlier in the in training camp, and I think that's Cooper McDonald. And there might be a new number 38 in the defensive back field for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Great number.
In Kevin Knowles. But if I'm the Chiefs, I know what I have in Josh Williams, and that's somebody that I have continually moved down the depth chart. What do I have in Kevin Knowles, a guy who's continually risen in his play and clearly knows where he's supposed to be on the field? I think has an understanding and an idea of how the defense works because he's directing some traffic from time to time. Am I going to keep Joshua Williams, or am I going to take a chance on this guy that he might be somebody that could be a Chris Roland Wallace that we kind of found as an undrafted free agent? Hey, we found this guy, we brought him in, and look at his development. we're going to make the decision as a coaching staff. We're going to keep him and move on from somebody that we drafted, developed, and it really has never materialized over the last couple of years. So that's how I would go, but I'm not there in the defensive back room and with Dave Merritt and those guys. But I think that's a name to keep an eye on tomorrow. I think minimum he's going to be on the practice squad. I think there's a decent chance he's on an NFL roster somewhere if he's waived tomorrow.
Can we go 2 for 2? Can we go Christian Roland Wallace and then Kevin Knowles back-to-back years? The
know.
zone would be on a heater.
It's a lot of pressure on me because you're 1 for 1. I mean, you had the Christian Roland, and I don't know that I'm calling my shot here. I'm just saying I'd rather have Knowles over Joshua Williams at this point.
If he is, then would you say that we're in the zone?
No.
You're in the zone on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, folks, the DraftKings. We good? I'm telling you, DraftKings. I'm telling you what. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, the Drake. We had up until 2 o'clock. 913-912-4810 is the text line. 913-912-4810 text line to join us to be a part of the show. We did see on that play, we were joking about the people claiming that Trey Smith with the block in the back and all of that BS. But what we saw on that play is why you pay Trey Smith the money. I mean, the dude is just so damn violent in a good way.
The good violent. The on
violent.
The field
yes,
violent.
He is such an awesome player from that perspective. And he, again, played well in this. And, again, if you haven't seen Jeff Schwartz breakdown, because he goes into every snap with Josh Simmons and Kingsley Suamataia, but part of that is also, as he's doing that, he's also pointing out, well, you got these guys here. He'll point out other things, and how often he points out, Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey and in tandem and what they're doing. And, it's a really interesting, illuminating breakdown by Jeff Schwartz, and it gives you a good inside look to what's going on with the offensive line, and certainly Trey Smith is a part of that as well. But yeah, that's why you pay him the money, is for him to go out and do that.
I just I go back to, typically giving a guard that much money is a bad decision unless they are that good. Joe Thuney was that good. I had my reservations about the contract, and then we saw no, he lived up to that. I had my reservations about the Trey Smith contract, but if he improves in the pass protection a little bit, we know what he can do, and he is that tone setter on the offense. As great as Creed Humphrey is, I mean, Creed Humphrey is the best center in football.
Yep.
I do think Trey Smith might be the emotional leader of the offensive line. Do you think that he's the tone setter, the physicality? Yes. I mean, I think there is. I'm not saying you have to overpay for that, but when you also couple that with the talent that Trey Smith has, it makes it very difficult to walk away from. He is the leader in that room.
Yeah.
It's like Nick Bolton, right? How great is Nick Bolton?
Yeah.
Nick Bolton's not the best middle linebacker in football, but he also is the intelligent guy. He's the vocal, or maybe not even the vocal, he's the leader of that room, right? He's the tone setter, too.
Yeah.
So there is value to that.
Yeah, he's the quarterback of the defense, and Trey Smith maybe not the quarterback of the offensive line, because that would be Creed Humphrey, or even just Patrick Mahomes. But it is that personality, that guy in the locker room and on the field, that, all right, I'm here. I don't have anybody to block right now. I turn around. I'm just going to go knock that guy's block off and knock him down. Oh, look behind Mahomes. There's somebody else. Oh, let me go pancake him. The guy's working at IHOP. All right, he's just handing out pancakes everywhere. On Sports Radio 810 WHB, Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Joel Penfield hanging out with us, One Royal Way podcast. We talked some Kansas City Royals now, talked a lot of college football and Chiefs football in the first couple of hours, and we talk some Kansas City Royals. Joel, welcome into the show, brother. How are you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I am doing just fine. I'm doing much better that the Royals were able to find a way to win that game yesterday, and now they get the Chicago White Sox. That was boy, if you'd have told me 2 months ago or at any point in June that the Royals would have that big of a lead and then give up the lead, but then battle back offensively and score that many, I would have said you're living on another planet, because clearly that's not even possibility for this particular team offensively. But that's what happened. They jump out to the big lead, 6 runs, all with 2 outs on Flaherty. Seth Lugo, had another struggle in his start, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But the Royals then bounce back and score more runs to retake the lead in what was a crucial game. I would have asked what you were smoking if you would have said that was a possibility at any point this year against the Tigers, certainly.
Yeah, I talked about that on the show.
What
last
were you
night,
smoking? That was the actual question. Is what were you smoking, Joel?
Nothing. I enjoy a cigar every now and then,
See?
but not.
Okay. There you go.
There you go.
If it's a victory, it was a victory yesterday.
It was,
yeah.
Although you couldn't bring it out in the 4th inning like Red Auerbach would, to make that little cross sport reference there. But that was a game that felt like the 2024 team. That was, hey, they're just going to battle and battle and battle and keep themselves in the game and find a way to win, be a pain in the you-know-what for 9 innings. And they were battling throughout that entire series. The Tigers were they're a great team. They had their opportunities and couldn't cash them in. They went 4 for 20 with runners in scoring position the first 2 games. But that 3rd inning where they scored 6 runs on 7 hits, all with 2 outs, like that's the kind of stuff we wanted to see. And it had elements of keeping the line moving, just hit. The injection of some power with Vinny, being able to get the 2-run shot right there. And that was all good, all well and good. But then they give it up, and that was where I went, oh boy. Because we've seen this before where they've blown leads, or team puts up a crooked number, and that's the game. And whether that's in the 3rd inning, in the 5th inning, in the 8th inning, whatever it is. And they just found a way to battle. And maybe this is just some of the injection of different veteran presences in the clubhouse now. But it feels like they're a way more confident group, even in some of these games where they do face some adversity. Just, nope, we're going to keep battling because we know what we need to do. And we saw that on Sunday.
So we are witnessing one of the best stretch runs of a Royals hitter, and we're witnessing it in back-to-back years. Mm-hmm. Last year we saw Bobby Witt, finish 2nd in MVP, and we were watching one of the best shortstop seasons we have seen ever in Major League Baseball. And now we are watching one of the best stretches of offensive production for a Royals player in Royals history in what Vinny is doing with the 5 straight home runs, the consecutive games with an extra base hit, the 40-game span of 15 home runs and 40 RBIs, being one of 4 players in Royals history to have that. He has just been unfreaking real. And another home run yesterday. I don't know what has clicked for him. Obviously, it was shaving. Was the smart thing to do.
But he's let it come back a little bit now, and he's still got it going.
Right, I know, but the shaving got it going.
Yes.
Now he can do whatever he wants, because now he's just seeing the ball as well as maybe he's ever seen it in any stretch of his career. What do you make of what we're seeing from Vinny? Because it's obviously a hot stretch, and Salvi's gone through hot stretches, but it doesn't feel like the table's going to turn and Vinny's going to go back to batting 150 or 160. The batting average isn't what we've typically seen or expected from Vinny. The power is there, and how he's doing it is, in line with guys that has more of a staying power than what some crazy hot stretch from somebody that you wouldn't expect to hit all those home runs. I mean, the guy's going to have a 30 home run, 100 RBI season, knock on wood, this year for the Royals, but it's been unbelievable to watch this stretch of baseball, and we're seeing back-to-back years. Bobby last year just go on a crazy stretch, and now Vinny this year, and these are guys that are going to be around for the next, 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah, and Vinny's doing this without sacrificing any strikeouts. Like, I think that's the thing, is sometimes you often see the trade-off where guys try to sell out for a little bit more power, and we'll do it at the expense of striking out 22, 23% of the time or more. And instead, it's still around 17%, which is higher than most of his career, but when you look at the vast majority of Major League Baseball, a lot of guys with his type of power will take a 17% strikeout rate. And since the end of April, it's like 14%. And he's walking around 7%, which is around his career average. I mean, he's been unbelievable. And some of it is just recognizing who you need to be rather than who you have been. For when he came up, it was he's going to spray the ball all over the place. He's going to hit a bunch of doubles, maybe 20, 25 homer power at his peak. But he's leaning into, you know what, the best way to optimize what this team needs from me is pull side power. And I'm just going to lean into it. And that's what he's become. And he is one of the best pull the ball in the air guys. If you look at his spray chart, he has never hit a home run to dead center field.
I'm looking at it right now.
It is the bizarro world Isaac Paredes.
Yes.
It's the exact same thing. You know what? I'm going to duck hook homers to right field. Now, he has more power, I think, raw than Paredes does.
I would agree.
Because Paredes has really benefited from the short porch in the Trop and the Crawford boxes in Houston.
Agreed.
Regardless, it's just leaning into who you are, and that is the best way for me to be a really good big league hitter is pull the ball in the air. And it's working. And we've seen Vinny go on these crazy hot stretches, and because he's a guy that's so contact-oriented, it's going to ebb and flow throughout a season where just those hits are not going to be hits for a little while, and you're going to line out, you're going to run into some bad luck. It happens. But when these hot stretches are going, man, we see what this offense can be. And when it's at its ceiling, Vinny is at the forefront of it, not Bobby.
I think what's interesting is we started talking, and Vinny himself even talked early in the year about the bat speed being quicker, and how he was pulling everything foul. It finally feels like he's been able to straighten it out a little bit. It's almost like a golfer who just you keep pulling, you maybe hooking a little bit, like Rory.
Has he dropped his bat speed?
I think a little bit, and
Swing
it's
speed?
also fair to remember he started the year with that like pulled hammy that he kept playing with, and I think maybe he was swinging the bat harder to try and compensate for not being able to use his lower half as much. So it's I just got to get my hands through faster because I don't have my lower half to be able to really drive it. So I think now it's like, oh, he's fully healthy. He's able to get everything into the swing.
I think it was an interesting conversation because that was a big talking point early on in the year, and it's gone by the wayside. So I just wonder if either he's fully healthy, so we can use his lower half more, and that's generated more power. Obviously, the weather warming up here in Kansas City doesn't
help. Yeah,
doesn't suck. But again, I just wonder if also now that he figured out how to control and harness the speed. Maybe he knows what the right bat speed is because now it's stuck around 59th percentile in Major League Baseball.
I think it's with taking your shots, and that's something that Vinny has done a really good job of. Like, yes, he's a fairly selective hitter. He has his aggressive moments, but he knows, okay, this guy's throwing me a fastball in. I'm just going to turn and burn on this thing. That's what he did in the 9th inning on Friday night. 96 in, and that was an A swing for sure because he knew it was coming. We've seen him get some really good A swings off on breaking balls away. Like, he's seeing a beach ball right now.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what guys are throwing him, where they're throwing it. He's going to pull it into the right center gap or hit it over the fence.
Yeah, he had mentioned in the offseason that, the workout regimen that he had, he put on weight, which is what he wanted to do. He added muscle and put on weight for this year. The unintended consequence of that was that his bat speed, he was swinging the bat quicker. And then that was resulting in foul balls that are, 370 feet, which doesn't matter. It's not going to help me if I hit it, way over there. But, he's got to, adjust and figure those things out. But he didn't go into the offseason saying, hey, I want to increase my bat speed. He went into the offseason saying, hey, I want to put on muscle, and therefore if I connect with it, maybe it goes farther. So I do wonder now if he's always had a violent swing. He's always been a guy that just gets everything he has out of his swing. I don't know if the lower bat speed is him just saying, maybe I don't have to be as violent because I have put on some muscle, that if I get it the same way that I would get it before with an easier swing, it's gone. It's going. I'm going to be hitting home runs if I get it all, and I don't have to swing as violent or as fast as I typically have, and maybe that allows him to set back a little bit longer in his swing, to not, yank those things into right field, to quote-unquote straighten them out more to right center and right field, but not necessarily straight. But he also had that great double into left center after the double down the first base line was called foul.
Yes.
Next pitch, rips that into left center and barrels that thing up, and it peels away from Evan Carter, and he gets on second that way. And so he's been unbelievable. And I wonder if, okay, he puts on weight in the offseason, hasn't affected his first base, playing.
And he's been great. He's a solid defender.
Yes, I really like him over at first base. When he first came up, I'm like, okay, we got a DH playing first base. Let's see what he can do. And then now it's like, okay, this is a guy that has turned himself into a solid first baseman, not a DH playing first base anymore. Over the last 30 games, Vinny Pasquantino was OPSing at 973, but his home runs would pace over 162 for 70. He would be pacing.
Barry Bonds, watch out, guy.
And 189 RBIs. It's 30 games. 30 games does not 162 make, and obviously he's not going to be, crazy hot like he is over 162.
I don't see Vinny's dome growing, Barry.
Yeah, I know.
Allegedly.
Right? Well, I don't know. He put on weight in the offseason.
Allegedly.
But they're 19-11 in that stretch as well. The Royals are. But again, it'd be a 70. He's on a 70 home run pace. What he's done in his last 30 games over the last month of actual games, not just the last month, but the last month of actual games is what he's doing. And it doesn't seem like it's a fluke. He's getting a lot of barrels. And his bat speed has slowed down a little bit.
I think Joel brought up a great point as far as what does this team need from Vinny, right? Where in 2022, it was singles, doubles, just trying to be himself or trying to figure it basically out of himself, walks. Who is he as a major leaguer? He had a pull air percentage of 18.6%. He's up to 24.8, which is very high. That's like towards the top of the league of all baseball players. His pull air percentage is nearly 1 out of every 4 times. That's what he does. He's going to pull it in the air. Because what does this team need? They don't need singles. Power. They didn't need singles. We talked about at the beginning of the year. Singles the mascot. No, they needed slugging. And so that's what he's done. He's pulling the ball in the air. So you've seen it go from 18.6 to 21.9 to 21.9. Then this year, the drastic uptick towards the top of the league at 24.8% pull in the air. So, Joel, great pull. Your eyes did not deceive you. The antidotes, you're wearing glasses. I'm glad you are because you could tell what's going on, and the numbers back that up.
Can I bring up an interesting blind reveal? Player A, player B real quick?
Yes, love it.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the slash in their OPS plus in Kansas City. Player A, 284, 342, 439, 781 OPS, 111 OPS plus.
Okay, do that one again. 284.
284, 342, 439, 781 OPS.
781.
And a 111 OPS plus.
Okay.
Which is kind of like weighted runs created plus for those that are. It's the baseball reference stat. Player B, career 266, 332, 457, 788 OPS, and a 119 OPS plus.
That one's Vinny. I just know by the average.
That's correct.
I've looked at B is Vinny. I know that because I've seen that average so many times. Is A, honestly, for the career, probably Bobby Witt Jr.
Nope.
No. Is A Adam Frazier?
Nope.
Oh, okay,
I'll give you a hint. Former Royal.
Is it career or a season?
For their career in Kansas City.
Okay, I thought it was current player.
No, I apologize.
For the career,
that's why I went Adam Frazier.
Kansas
It's like, okay,
City.
he's doing this since he's been back
Hal
with the
McRae.
Royals.
No.
So career in Kansas City.
Billy Butler.
No, but you're on the right track.
So 111 plus 781.
Hosmer?
Yes.
I was going to say that was what I was going to go with is Hosmer because the batting average was 284.
So I guess this is not trying to launch some sort of Vinny is better than Hosmer take, but think about how we, as a fan base view Eric Hosmer. Like he was a very good player in Kansas City when he was here and helps win World Series. It just shows how good Vinny Pasquantino is and that he's better than I think a lot of people realize. And obviously winning a World Series kind of softens the way that, I think Hosmer is viewed long term. But I think it just shows how good Vinny actually has been since he's been in Kansas City because a lot of the conversation is, yeah, he's good. And I remember, when Jack came up, it was like, yeah, it's great we have Vinny, but we got this guy, makes Vinny expendable possibly, all of these conversations. Vinny's just like, nah, man, like I'm that guy.
I think part of it was Hosmer was more athletic, so you could do a little bit more on the base paths first or third.
Yeah.
Defensively, I do think at times Hosmer may have been overrated. Vinny at times might be a little underrated, but I'm still giving the nod to Hosmer with the glove. I think Hosmer was maybe the more complete baseball player, if you want to go with that terminology. But I think you're completely fair to bring up the fact that Vinny has been shockingly good and under the radar, I think, than maybe what a lot of people think he is. I do think injuries have played a massive factor. Hosmer was was healthy along.
Well, he had a couple of decent IL stints though.
But Vinny's had a large chunk of his youngish career.
That's true.
On the eye, with some major injuries, right?
Yeah, last year a little more fluky than the shoulder stuff, but I get your
correct.
point.
Yeah, and so I think that plays a factor too. Obviously, the World Series, but you're right to bring up the numbers because numbers alone show you that Vinny has been a very underrated contributor to this Royals team.
With Vinny, the conversation has gone on since they signed Bobby, signed Lugo, the conversation around Vinny Pasquantino. And it's like, okay, do you lock this guy up now, long term? And I understand the thought process behind let's give him a long-term deal. Let's give him a contract through 2030 or 2029, 2030, 2 years of what would be free agency. I think with Vinny and what we're talking about with the injuries, I think I'm willing to take it year by year with him and go through 2028 with him. So I'd have, because you still have him through the 2028 season. So he's a free agent. 2029 would be the first. And so that's why I say if you're going to sign him long term, you'd want him through 29 and 30, a couple of years of free agency to buy that out. But I think he's a guy that with the injuries, already, he's going to turn 28 in a month from now, or 2 months from now, whatever, month and a half. So he's sitting at 28 years old. He'll be in his 30s already when he's a free agent, when he hits free agency in 2029. I think he's a guy I probably go arbitration year to year with, and then if I have to pay a little bit more and I want to keep him after the 2028 season or during 2028, I want to sign him to a couple more years, I'll go that route. But I don't know that I want to sign him and have him around in 2030 and 2031 if he's a guy that starts battling more injuries as he starts to age.
Yeah, I guess the counter to that would be I don't think an extension would be incredibly punitive from a money perspective because he is a first base only guy. It's not like he's got Pete Alonso type power.
Yeah.
He's hitting 40, 50 homers a year. I think somewhere in the range of like 5 years, $50 million.
Yeah.
Like buy out 2 years of free agency, get him to
Well,
age
if it's
32.
$10 million a year, I'd probably
right.
be more
Yeah, I
willing
think
to
it's
do
going to
that.
be around that. I don't think
Yeah.
it'll be anything crazy. And the AAV would be 10. I think it'll escalate a little more, but that would be the way that I would approach it. The other conversation would be Maikel Garcia. Do you continue? Do you just lock in because you think this is who he is long term? I'd actually go reverse. I want to see another year of Maikel Garcia if he's able to have production like this before I lock him up. I think I know what I'm getting with Vinny from what we saw the last 2 seasons. I think the floor is pretty high for what you need from him, and if he continues to grow into this power hitter, then you're getting a discount right away.
Yeah, I just if he stays healthy the rest of the way, great, awesome. But it has been the last couple of years that we've seen some injuries for Vinny. And maybe that was part of his off-season training regimen was to avoid some of those things. And
Correct.
Maikel's under team control through 2029. So Maikel's an extra year. He's a year longer than Vinny under team control right now. Vinny, 2028 would be his last season. Maikel, 2029 would be his last season. And I'd be fine with locking up Maikel Garcia as a younger guy. And, I'd say offers more athleticism. I worry about body type for Vinny, that if he starts breaking down, he's already lacking in some athleticism, that if he breaks down there, then maybe that's a little bit of a quicker drop-off for Vinny, where Vinny from first base, you would just devolve into DH. You know what I mean? So, like, Maikel's a shortstop / third baseman that could devolve into a second baseman, that could devolve into, I don't know, another position, DH or something like that.
Outfield even maybe
Outfield,
if you want to do the Fernando Tatis and get him off his
where
O'Neal Cruz.
But I think it's also, do you believe that this is who Maikel Garcia is? And if you do believe that, are you going to get him cheaper this offseason than if he has another year of this? And it's like, okay, well, now he's 1 year closer to free agency.
That's the really tricky part. But I think because we've seen the two extremes of how bad he was for most of last season offensively to now a very solid contributor offensively.
Yeah.
I just want to see if either he falls in the middle or if he, if he ends up at that second year, another one like this in 26. But I think you would still at least try and pony up for it and give him a couple of, buy out a couple of years if you could.
His career WAR, his baseball reference WAR coming into this year, he has doubled that this year alone.
Yeah.
It was 2.1 was his career WAR. He's got 4.7 this year.
Yeah,
He's
Alone.
been phenomenal this year.
Unbelievable compared to what he's been. And so the Royals, as a 25-year-old, have to say, okay, this guy will turn 26 right before the season next year. And that's 2 years younger than Vinny Pasquantino and playing in that, whatever, 26, 27, 28-year-old season that you would call it throughout the year, throughout their career. Is this a guy that you want to, pay a little bit more money or at least invest in right now and have him a little bit longer term? Or sort of like a Cole Reagans, you can give him a contract so you know that his money is cost control, so you know exactly what he's going to be, as opposed to arbitration year by year. We're going to keep him through the 2029 season, only we're going to give him this contract, and through the 2029 season, we don't have to go into arbitration every year and have him have, he finished 5th in MVP, and so now we're paying $13 million this year for Michael Garcia.
All right, I'm tired of beating around the bush. I know we're all scared of the bush, and then we keep beating around it. So
Great.
I'm tired of that.
Gordon.
Let's hit on the elephant in the room. Frank, you're looking good. Hitting on the elephant in the room.
I see.
He looks good.
No, thank you for explaining it.
Seth Lugo.
Yeah.
Yikes. Again, I had that one good start, and then the reversion yet again yesterday.
I think there's a concern level we talked about last week. I don't know if you and I talked about it where, looking at last year, he had a stretch of baseball to where he wasn't all that great.
Yeah.
But we talked about it last week, and I thought, okay, he comes out and has his most recent start. There we go. Okay, maybe he's past it, and he fixed something in the mechanics. And then this game, he goes back to being, that guy that he was before. So it was a rough outing. I'm hoping this is just a stretch of baseball that he had last year. And maybe next year, Joel, in 2026, we're like, hey, we know what to expect in late July and August from Seth Lugo.
Yeah, because I tweeted it out earlier this morning, too, that he had a 6-start stretch from the end of July to the end of August where the ERA was above 6. 29 or 25 earned runs, 39 hits in 36 innings. And that was when we were all like, well, I guess, Seth Lugo was awesome this 3 months. This is just him, wearing down. But it was also a guy that had never thrown the quantity of innings that he had to that point. But he finished a 6-start stretch right after that with a 2.08 ERA, 35 strikeouts to 5 walks, only 8 earned runs, and 34 2/3. So I understand it's not exactly 1-to-1 because at that point it was like a 6.25 ERA, but the FIP was around 4 because he wasn't giving up home runs, but he's given up 10 home runs in these 6 starts. So that
Walking guys.
The walks are a little higher. He was walking a good chunk. That was where a lot of the FIP came from for him in that start too. So it's not exactly 1-to-1, but we've seen something like this before, and then he came out on the other side of it and was great when they needed it in September. So that's what I'm hoping here. I know he's a year older. I know it's 24 versus 25, but I'm willing to go with the track record that he has in Kansas City. He's going to get it figured out, and Brian Sweeney and Zach Bove are going to get it figured out, and hopefully he is what the Royals are paying him to be for the stretch run in September.
My concern is a track record overall in his career of not having back-to-back years of putting on this amount of innings on his arm.
Yeah,
that
is part of it for sure.
So what happens this offseason? Is there a different, training to get through a full season? Or is this just simply reality is Seth Lugo, the amount of starts and innings that he has throughout the season, when he gets to late July and August, he's going to have, whether it's fatigue or a dead arm or the mechanics are missing a little bit from fatigue, and then he's going to get back into being Seth Lugo in September. All we have is last year to go off of,
right,
in that he did recover and turned back into Seth Lugo that he was before. We need that to happen again this year,
yes,
for us to know if this is something that is just going to be a Seth Lugo type personality trait, if you want to call it that, moving forward for him. Because he hasn't done he got back into being Seth Lugo for this year yet, where he did last year. I'm hoping that happens, and I'm hoping it happens soon because the Royals need Seth Lugo out there on the mound doing Seth Lugo things. Thankfully, they win the game, and it didn't turn out to be disaster. You got a huge lead, and then you give it right up.
My concern is, you ever take a guess on what his expected ERA is now?
Oh, it's like 5-something.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's 5.18.
But even when he had an ERA below 3, the expected was like 4.5.
Not this bad. 5.18. And you start looking at some of the underlying metrics, which again, he's been a guy who's exceeded the underlying metrics a large chunk of his career with the pitch mix and the amount of pitches he has, all of that. The issue is now his walk rate is 39th percentile in baseball. Last year it was 85th. I mean, it's just he's getting hit a lot harder. He's not finding the strike zone, and when he does, it's down the middle. It's just sometimes it's great when you have 9 pitches, but if you're not controlling any of the 9, then it doesn't help you at all, and you can't focus on 3, for example. You have 9 pitches, and that's been your calling card. I don't know. I'm not saying that he's going to be this guy forever.
No.
But I am a little more nervous that he's more of a 4 ERA guy than a 3 ERA guy. More of he's a good number 3 starter versus hey, he's second in Cy Young, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it is fair to say that last year is going to be the outlier in his career, but I think even if he is somewhere between 3.5 and a 4 ERA for the next 3 years, that's $20 million. Like based on the starting pitching market, like he is still going to pitch to his value. It just may not be the Cy Young that we saw in 2024. And I talked about that coming into the year. Like Seth Lugo still may be great. I don't think he's going to be second in Cy Young good again this year. Now, he proved me wrong for the first couple of months of the season. Like, oh, this is just going to be who he is. He hit this patch now, and obviously people are now wanting to relitigate the extension that they were all excited about before.
It's still the right decision. The process was there, barring, as Jason has pointed out, as long as they didn't see something with the arm, as long as they did their due diligence on the arm prior to the extension, which we all assumed they would have. But I remember you throwing that caveat out there that I thought was at least intriguing.
Well, one thing that when I saw the pitch breakdown yesterday after the game, the thing that is a little concerning to me is that he's thrown his curveball more than any other pitch. In like 3 of his last 4 starts, that's been the case. And when I see that as a guy that doesn't throw hard, he's 89, 93, somewhere in that range. That's like, oh boy, there's not a lot of confidence in the fastball right now. Now, some of that could be game plan specific, so I may just be, talking out my you-know-what, but...
Joel?
Not going to say it on air.
Mouth.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Something along that line.
Yeah.
But that is a little concerning for a guy that throws 3 different fastballs, and he feels more confident to throw his curveball over for strikes than the fastball because it's getting knocked around.
We've said this a few times since the All-Star break. Hey, this is a huge stretch of games for the Royals. Hey, there's a big stretch of games. Every single game the rest of the way is a big stretch of games for the Royals.
Yes.
But we know that their schedule in early to mid-September toughens up with a road trip to Cleveland and then Philadelphia. Then you play Seattle, you play Toronto. But over their next 12 games, 9 of those 12 are against the White Sox, the Angels, and the Twins. You got 3 at home against Detroit. It's a pretty big 12-game stretch before you have the 12 games. It's a 12-game stretch here, and then 12 games after that are against the Guardians, the Phillies, the Mariners, and the Blue Jays. You got to make some hay.
Yeah,
these next
you got to win
games.
at least 8 of these 12. I
I'm good
think,
with that.
and I don't think that's necessarily minimum, but I think that's what we should expect.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Joel, thank you for stepping in and hanging out with this man. Appreciate it as always, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you.
There's Joel Penfield, One Royal Way podcast. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. Mick Schaefer will join us coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. We talk some K-State football in the first hour, some KU football in the first hour, a lot of Chiefs in the 11 o'clock hour with the cut-down day coming up tomorrow, 3 o'clock Central Time. Tomorrow is when all of these teams need to be down to their 53 men. The Chiefs made a trade over the weekend. An old friend becomes a current friend for the Chiefs. We can talk about that, what it means, and more coming up next. KSHB 41 sports director. Talking a lot about Vinny Pasquantino. A really cool breakdown on MLB Network of what Vinny Pasquantino is doing and how he's doing it and how locked in he is. And, not being afraid to pull the baseball. Like, it's who Vinny Pasquantino is. All right? You're a pull hitter. So why work away from your strength? Your strength is pulling the baseball. So pull the baseball. Most balls hit in the air to the pull side this year. We talk about really good hitters. You want to guess who number 1 and number 2 are this year? By the way, Vinny's not number 1 or number 2. Vinny has 103 hits, balls hit to the pull side, in the air. Balls hit in the air to the pull side. Number 1 and number 2 have 128 and 127. So it's like, well, you don't just want to be pull happy, because if you're pull happy, well, then, you're not using the whole field.
Is this hits only?
Just balls hit in the air.
Balls in the air. Cal Raleigh.
127.
Yeah.
He's second most.
Cal Raleigh is dead
with his 50 home runs,
I don't think this guy is, because I think he hits Oppo more, but maybe I'm wrong. Aaron Judge.
It's not Judge.
Or Pete Alonso, I feel like hits the Oppo a little bit,
Not Peter
too.
Alonso either. In fact, this is a smaller stature guy with really awesome power and just an annoyance to Royals pitchers over the years.
Ty France.
No, you would think. Guardians, Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, that tracks. Yeah, he's a big pull guy,
Jose
too,
Ramirez,
yeah.
128. Cal Raleigh, 127. Vinny Pasquantino has 103, but a couple of others in there. Ozzie Albies this year, not having the best season. Pete Crow Armstrong, Isak Paredes.
Yeah, Paredes.
Spencer Torkelson, Cody Bellinger. Vinny, and then Cody Bellinger. But you've got Ramirez and Raleigh and PCA, and then what Paredes was doing before the hamstring injury. Those guys are all,
Cody Bellinger's had a nice year, too.
Yeah, those guys have been dead pull hitters.
Yeah.
So I think it goes against the conversation of, well, the problem with Vinny is that he's just pulling everything, just pull everything. You got to go. If you go center field or left center, Vinny's really on it if he's going to left field and left center, right? That was the feeling last year. Boy, Vinny is locked in if he's left center, center field, going the other way. Well, okay, he had the double to left center that Evan Carter couldn't get to against the Rangers, in which he takes that pitch that's outside and just crushes it. But it also had that, slicing spin to it to get into left center. But he's not a guy that's like, he is so locked in that he's going to left field and left center. He's so locked in that he is crushing everything to right field and right center. He's not pulling it. He's staying on it and crushing it for home runs. And there is nothing wrong with being if you're successful at doing it. There's nothing wrong with being a guy that is going to be a pull hitter, especially now that the shift has been eliminated. You would think the pull hitter, all right, well, they're going to put somebody over into short right field. And now you've got the shift to deal with, and you've got those 3 outfielders there, and the infielders over on the right side, and okay, just lay down a bunt the other way. He tried. There was a couple of days ago. He turned to lay down a bunt, at least to show bunt for a second. But I think more than anything, what I'm seeing from Vinny Pasquantino that was missing, I think, when he returned after the thumb injury last year. And that was in the playoffs. And it can't really be expected for him to just get back and have his timing perfectly when he had to miss all that time. But there were at-bats where Vinny was up 2-0, and then he swung at one and got himself jammed. There's a couple of at-bats we've seen that he has hit home runs on, that a 2-0 pitch he took that was a strike. It was a changeup down and away. And just, nope, not swinging at it 2-0. Strike one. You're down you're still up in the count, but it's 2-1 in the count. Well, why swing at that one? You're 2-0. Well, if I'm going to swing, I need to do damage on it. And it's down and away, and it's a changeup down and away. So it's still working down and away. So if I hit it, I'm probably going to roll over the top of it. The next pitch was an attempted changeup inside, and Vinny hit it to right center for a home run. Now, if he swings at 2-0 because it's 2-0, I'm supposed to swing, then I'm going to assume he does not hit it, 410 to right center for a 3-run home run. I'm going to assume that's not the case. And he has been doing that a lot in this stretch. That it's, nope, that's outside by, a few inches. Maybe it's called a strike, but I'm not going to swing at it because if I swing at it, I'm going to be out anyway. But I also don't think it's a strike. So, yeah, I guess I'm putting it into the hands of an umpire that might call it a strike, but it's off the plate. And you know what? Next year, that pitch being off the plate, he'll be able to ABS that
Tap
thing.
the dome.
Yeah, he didn't have to in this one because Merrill Kelly missed, and it was called a ball. And then Merrill Kelly came back inside, and Vinny Pasquantino took him yard because he tried to come back inside. And that's the one thing that I'm seeing with Vinny this year, that at times last year, and definitely after the thumb injury. Again, like I've said, the timing and seeing the ball is going to be difficult after you take that much time off. And let's be honest, you came back early. Like, you really fought to come back to be a part of that playoff run, and good on him to do that. But I don't think he was hitting the ball and barreling up these inside pitches and keeping them fair the way that he is right now, the way he is just seeing them. He hit a pitch that was on the black outside to right center for a home run. And it's like, well, now you're pulling everything. Salvi gets pull happy. There's a difference. Salvi gets pull happy, and he's trying to pull pitches that are low and away in the dirt. I just mentioned Vinny Pasquantino a 2-0 count, a changeup low and away, and he just took it. As soon as he gets into his, load, stride, low and away, it's 2-0, taking it. I'm not even going to begin to swing at it because I can see that's already outside. And it's 2-0, I'm looking location. I'm probably looking pitch and location that I want to swing at. It's 2-0. Well, now it's 2-1. I can still be selective here. I don't have to swing at anything. I don't have 2 strikes. I can still be selective. And I think what Vinny has done is, remember what we were just talking about, Vinny Pasquantino when he first came up, the walk rate, and I had mentioned earlier this year with Les Norman that his walk rate per at bat has gone down every single year. So now it's like 1 walk every 7 at bats, where rookie year was 1 walk, or it's like 1 walk every 19 at bats. Rookie year was like 1 walk every 7 at bats. And it was like, okay, this guy, he's working a walk. What I think he's doing now that's different is he's working himself into good counts, and then he's doing damage on anything that comes close.
Yeah.
Whereas, I'm going to work myself into a good count. Ooh, I might have fouled that pitch off, and I'll eventually work a walk. He's not really fouling those pitches off now. He's squaring them up, and he's hitting. He's hot right now. There's no getting around it. He's incredibly hot. He's seeing the ball really well.
It's a clean shaven. He's very good looking.
Right.
I know what you're saying.
Well, once he shaved, he's grown the facial hair back. But once he shaved, it got rid of whatever the bad juju was, and now that
good juju.
Right, 100%. Now, once he shaved, it has been nothing but being able to see the baseball like a beach ball. 7 straight games with an extra base hit, 1 away from Bo Jackson's Royals record, 5 straight games with a home run, tying Sweeney and Salvador Perez for the most consecutive games with a home run in Royals history with 5. He's not going to be this hot all season, but what he might be is somebody that, because he's working into hitters' counts, okay, maybe that's not a home run, maybe he does foul that off. But hopefully it doesn't mean that he's going to swing at the next one that's out of the zone, or swing at one that's 2-0, because I think he was pressing early in the season.
Agreed.
And when he was not walking, he was pressing early in the season. I got to come through. I got to hit this. Oh, it's a strike. I got to swing at it. And now, no, they got to pitch to me.
It does feel, 1 negative, runners on third, less than 2 outs. It feels like he's popped up more than normal.
Yeah, he hasn't been as efficient as he was last year.
Although the RBIs still are phenomenal this year. That's the 1 negative, because I'm going back to another positive, so I want to be fair. It's like, let me throw the bad thing out where I feel like he could be a little better with runner on third, less than 2 outs, compared to last year he was
just give him the compliment sandwich.
Incredible.
Compliment sandwich.
But, dog, him in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning this year has been insane. We're not talking about a guy who is just getting singles or solo shots. We're not talking about a guy who, 2 outs, and he rips a double in the 2nd inning, and that's all he got for the game. 7th inning, he's batting .357, .438, .667. OPS and had over 1,100 in the 7th inning.
That's just 7th inning.
That's just 7th inning. 8th inning, .279, .343, .459. OPS and over 800. 9th inning, .324, .405, .432. OPS and over 830. I mean, and then extras, by the way, they've only played 5 at-bats, but extra innings, 500. Like, his total in late inning and in late game, or late, 7th inning or later, and in close games, his total OPS, so close games, late in games, his overall numbers are 340, 431, 620, OPS, and over 1,000. So Vinny, when the game is on the line, when it matters, late in the game, he has been Barry Bonds, Aaron Judge last year, basically.
Yeah.
This is Aaron Judge last year, but even a little more average. I mean, that is what Vinny has been late in games, in close games.
As we take a break, doing a pass-along Royals news that happened today, they get ready for the Chicago White Sox. The Royals have optioned John Rave, and they have brought back from the injured list and reinstated second baseman Michael Massey. So Massey back with the team. There's a left-handed hitter. John Rave down, left-handed hitter. So a guy that can play second base and play outfield. Jonathan India can play second base. Adam Frazier plays second base and outfield. You've got guys with different positional versatility. John Rave, outfield only, and has struggled. And Michael Massey, not exactly, destroying the baseball down in AAA in his rehab start.
You surprised by this?
Not really. I think they like Massey. We'll see how he's used as well. How he's utilized. Adam Frazier can play in the outfield.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up at 1 o'clock. It's a crazy stat. We talked about Vinny and having the 103 pulled baseballs hit in the air this year. The leader is Jose Ramirez. Second most is Cal Raleigh. MLB slugging percentage on pulled hits in the air this year. The MLB slugging percentage, so average slugging percentage in Major League Baseball this year for baseballs that are pulled in the air, 1.215. So 1,200. Not slugging 600, slugging 1,200. So essentially, minimum a single every at bat is what it's averaged out in Major League Baseball. Not just with like power hitters. So when it's like, oh, you don't want to just get pull happy in the air. Well, actually, in Major League Baseball, that's the power. So the average slugging percentage in Major League Baseball this year for pulled baseballs in the air, according to MLB.com, 1.215. Not OPS.
Pretty good.
So it's a single every at bat. This is what it averages out to. Obviously, there's a lot of home runs in there, so that would give you 4. And so, you know what? If every 2 at bats you have a home run, you're slugging 2. Slugging 2,000 at that point. If you just every other at bat just hit a home run, that's really cool. It's really good.
If I were a Major League Baseball player, I would simply do that.
Why don't you do it every at bat though? If I was a Major League Baseball, I would be like Ichiro. You know how Ichiro could, if Ichiro wanted to hit a home run in at bat, he would. Yeah, because then he would just settle for a single, you dumbass. Like, Ichiro can't just hit a home run if he wanted. Yeah. Ichiro, if Ichiro wanted to hit like 70 home runs in a season, he would. Then why doesn't he? Ichiro's an amazing hitter. There's no hitter that could hit 70 or 80 home runs in a season that would choose to hit singles and doubles.
Yeah. You know what? No,
exist.
I actually choose to do this.
It doesn't exist. It's one of the dumbest things anybody has ever. Yes, Ichiro has awesome power when he gets old, but he's not a guy that could just wolf you. He's not a softball player.
Yes.
When you're given 1 home run in a game.
Yeah, hey, guy, use it. Ichiro, can you use it?
Can you use our one? Go ahead and use our one. All right, I'm going to go ahead and use our 1 home run here. Okay, there we go.
That is still so impressive to me. I know it's softball, and I get it. Like, I've played a lot of softball. Just doing it on command is still so impressive to me.
Use our home run here. Okay.
I know so many guys that can do it. I'm like, no, I have to swing like I'm bleeping Joey Gallo out
you
here.
You still don't hit it.
Well, come on now.
You would never.
It's all
be
on the
one,
hip turn.
You would never be the one that they would choose to.
No, never
use ours.
Never. I normally
never
I love doing it though, just to make him mad. Sometimes I'll hit the solo shot and just say, "Put me down for 1. Put me on the list. Put me mark me 1, dude."
Yeah, I used our 1.
You're welcome.
That was it. It's a solo shot. Thanks a lot, dude.
Yeah.
You're
welcome, boys.
Thanks a lot, dummy. We got 1 and uses. You're never the guy that they look at and go, "Hey, Sterling, go ahead and use our 1 here."
Never. I have never once.
You hit the home run and they get mad.
They're like, "Dude, come on." And I'm like, I'm not trying to hit home runs. Like, this is not my game. Vinny has been using it. Vinny says his 1 a game. He goes, "I'm going to use it now, boys." Is that okay?
When should I use my 1? 2 runs on? I'll use my 1 here, guys.
Vinny's like, "Yeah, I'll use it. I'll use my home run."
Down by 4 in the 9th inning. I got a runner on. I'll use my 1 here. It'll pull us within 2, but we'll see. I'll use my 1, and hopefully everybody else can come through and help out along the way. But yeah, interesting.
Vinny's been using his 1 softball home run.
That's right.
I'm happy for him.
Pretty much every game. Chiefs trade for Derek Nottie. So old friend has become current friend. I'm not sure who it costs a spot on the roster.
Least surprising move, I think. Yeah. When they said that there was potential of the Jets releasing Derek Nottie, I go, Chief.
Yeah. Did you have to trade for him, though? Because he doesn't have to clear waivers. He's a veteran. You cut him, he can choose wherever he goes.
I was surprised. What was it? 7th?
It was a conditional 6th, 7th swap.
So this guy Moore, basically.
So now they have a 6th rounder. So conditionally, depending on what Derek Nottie does, they could swap 6th, 7th rounders. But if he doesn't do anything, I'm not sure that you have anything to trade. I think it's like if he meets these conditions, you swap 6th and 7th rounders. If he doesn't, well, then sorry, Jet, you were going to cut him anyway. At least we're giving you a chance based on play that he could.
And it's 2027, by the way, not 26.
So. Okay, there you go. So at
2027, 7th round pick, conditional.
So, I guess the Royals wouldn't want to take that 6th rounder they just earned with the swap
Chiefs.
From 7th to.
The Royals might want to take that one though.
They could use an extra 6th rounder, but 6th rounders, don't play as often in baseball as they do in the NFL. It's weird, 6th rounder Trey Smith.
That probably hurts some Marlon Tuipulotu, potentially Malik Herring, Fabian Lovett.
I would think. I think more that defensive tackle spot.
Probably Fabian Levitt or Marlene Tupelo, too.
Yep, I think so, too. By the way, nice job on the getting Tuipulotu right twice.
I think it's pretty
Well
easy. Thank you.
Is it? Okay, well, maybe it is for you, but good. I'm saying good job. But
Thank you. I
sorry
appreciate
just to
it.
dismiss it.
No,
Never mind.
I
Never mind. I take the compliment back.
No,
nice job. Well, it's easy.
There are some
Okay,
names
my bad, dude.
I nail. Tuipulotu.
Hey, congrats on that win.
Kyle Isbell. Somehow I struggle on.
Yes, I know. Congrats on the win, man. Oh, they were overrated anyway.
Let them know this is.
You're the crowd chanting overrated at the end of the game. Like, just take the compliment.
Take the win.
Take the W, man. Nice job.
Kyle Isbell. Somehow hard for me sometimes.
Yeah, you just leave the A out.
Carlos Estevez. Like that's so hard for me. That second
happens.
E. Like I don't know how the umlaut works. It's not an umlaut. That's German, but I don't know how the dash.
Umbop.
No, it's mbop. That's Hansen.
Right.
Yeah.
The Prebula.
Now, see, that one's not too bad now. Prebula. I worked on that one.
Prebu.
There are certain names that get me every time, and Carlos, the closing pitcher for the Royals,
Estevez?
gets me. That E.
What about Emilio Estevez? Is it Estevez? I don't know. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We are hanging out with Mick Schaefer, heading up until 2 o'clock. Learn funniest best. Mick Schaefer is presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Experience world-class sports facilities, including an ice rink, turf field, state-of-the-art courts, arcade games, laser tag, bowling, sports simulators, bar and grill. It's all there at Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk, where sports and entertainment collide. Hello, Mick Schaefer.
What's up, fellas? How are we?
Oh,
We
fantastic.
should do a remote there, and I think it would devolve into Jason hosting the show and Mick and myself just playing games like
Yeah.
Papa Shot the whole time.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And I think that sounds like a great idea.
So it's like whenever we would go to like any golf place.
Yeah, like golf track.
Right.
And I'm like, sorry, I'll be back in a second. Mick and I are playing a game here. Top Golf, that happened, I think, too. You and I were
Yeah.
playing a game. I think we
Yep.
were playing Angry Birds.
Yeah, you guys were. Yeah, yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I became the bird as you guys were not.
You were angry.
We gave you the
funny.
bird as
you
we
did.
kept playing. You're
Which
like,
made me angry.
Jason is like, Sterling, come back. No, I'm sorry, I'm good.
It did
Mick
make
and I
me
are
angry.
playing a game.
It did
So I
make
think
me
we should
angry.
do it, Mick. It'd be fun. Maybe we could bowl together.
I'll bring my bowling balls.
You have plural?
2. And shoes. 2 shoes, too.
That makes sense.
1 pair. 2
Oh,
shoes.
okay.
See, I'm not that fancy. I use the local balls.
Yeah.
What about the?
Yeah.
You do just rent the shoes?
I rent the shoes.
Okay.
You gotta add the urethane ball to get to hook.
Oh, I can get it to hook
Is
no
it a
matter what.
specific-
All my balls
It's a
hook.
specific.
I can't get my
bowling
balls
ball?
to go straight.
It's a specific bowling ball.
You don't. Yeah. So
Okay.
like I bowled growing up, and this thing's probably 30 years old. So
That's some
it's
old
probably
balls.
lost
Still
a lot
working?
of the surface. Still works. The one
Good for
time a
you.
year I bowl. Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Gotta get the fingertip grips where you don't slide them all the way in, just barely there, and you get a lot of spin.
Do you have your name engraved on it?
No, I don't.
Say
Why
Joseph.
not?
And then my second one I got, I did some. It's like I covered some PBA event in Blue Springs, and I think they were shocked that media was there. And part of the deal was like, hey, we'll drill you your own ball. And so I got measured and everything. I got a second ball.
So I guess if you only bust your balls out once a year, they're probably still pretty smooth.
Yeah. So anyway.
Probably good condition.
Yeah.
Told you they're pretty old.
Yeah.
Worn out.
Anyway.
So
K-State. Let's
I don't
talk
use my
about
thumb, though,
Let's talk about
when
K-State
I bowl.
and
Yeah.
what took place over the weekend. Mick, give you some credit, dude. That you said
that's
you
right,
said
yeah.
how much you hate K-State because
I
your
hope
son
I-
started going there.
I
And
hoped
so-
that I was wrong. And
Yeah, but you did have Iowa
be
State
wrong.
winning. You had K-State going and winning anywhere from 6 to 12 games this year.
That's right.
You said
Still on line
eight
for
and
that.
4, but really anywhere from 6 to 12. So the 12 is not going to happen. So
did
we
I
can
do
maybe,
8 and 4 for all 3? I can't remember.
You did.
Okay.
8 and 4, 8 and 4, 8 and 4. Well, with KU you said 8 and 4, but maybe 7 and 5.
I liked what I saw there. I'll stay with the 8 and 4 there. I think
All right.
they're a
I'm gonna
team
keep
good
it, but
enough to
maybe
beat
7
an
and
Iowa
5.
State.
I'm going to keep it, but maybe I'm not going to erase that because that's what you said. You said, but maybe 7 and 5.
I did not say the 6 to 12 part. So are you keeping that in there?
You did say
That
that,
was
at one
you.
point. You did say that as
a joke?
As a joke.
Okay, good.
But I went ahead and wrote that down anyway.
good.
So because sometimes what I hear
fair
is a
enough.
joke, I'm just going to take it as fact. You know what I mean?
You're a radio guy. You guys won't go back and revisit anything, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. No,
right.
I had
Unless we're right. Good call.
I had K-State losing to Iowa State
what I
roughly by
remember.
3 based on like
Yes.
going forward on 4th down and then not really getting stops in the second half. I even said a muffed punt to start the game and then you'd lose Dylan Edwards. It's odd how right I was on everything that
really
happened
odd.
in the game.
It's funny. We were joking about it last night on Sound Off when they in the fourth quarter, the 4th and 1 they didn't get.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, you got to go for it there. Then they pan out. I'm like, oh, that's on their own 30.
That's on their
You
own
couldn't
30.
tell because they don't have grass,
Yeah.
good grass paint over there.
Yeah, apparently
And
not. Apparently the paint
I
does
still
not
don't
stay
hate
on.
the call, but at the time I was like, well, you got to go for it. Oh, maybe you didn't, but the field was just washed out at that point.
I did the admitting beforehand cop out.
Okay.
Of, I'm not a big fan of you should have. I agree that you go for it, but the play sucked. So it's really I was right about the strategy of going for it, but I would have chosen a different play. What I'd said in the first part of the show, Mick, is Chris Kleiman said that he would do the same thing again because the defense wasn't stopping Iowa State, which, by the way, he was correct because they scored the touchdown and then they ran out the last 6.5 minutes of the game after he went for 2. Yeah. And they had scored 10 points their previous 2 possessions, including 124 total yards.
They got worn out. I thought it was they made some stops early, but then got worn out.
They weren't able to get stopped. So from what Chris Kleiman was, I think his read on the game and what was going on with his defense was correct. My issue with the play is not I would have picked something else because it didn't work. My issue with the play is if my quarterback is not a guy that can duck his shoulder and take a linebacker on.
That was the biggest deal. I mean,
I can't call a play.
If he puts his shoulder pads down and barrels through, you get it by two yards.
And if I'm worried about my quarterback getting hurt, then I'm not running my quarterback.
Right.
Like, I can't do it there. 3 yards short of the first down, he was already buckling up and pitter-patting and going into the fetal position a little bit to take the hit, and he falls just short of the first down. Like, Josh Allen, Cam Newton, guys like that. Okay, Jalen Hurts. All right, I'm running that guy, and if he meets a linebacker, I think he's going to win by 1. And I think that
I don't think that's not who Avery is, right? It's not like he made some uncharacteristic play. He's a guy who wants space.
And that was kind of my point was Kleiman needs to know that on the play call because you know who Avery Johnson is. He is a guy better out in space.
Well, I think that's why they wanted to get him out there. But the problem is, like,
well, I get it. You overload the right side. Yeah. Okay, he kind of takes off to the left, and hopefully you have a numbers game out there.
The blocking was awful.
Defense not being there. It wasn't great.
There was a double team on one guy that got pushed out, and the linebacker number 2 that ended up making the hit was not blocked. And I'm assuming that the left tackle or tight end, whoever, was supposed to then get off the double team and take on the guy who was running free. I'm also guessing the guard was not supposed to be so slow that he was trailing Avery Johnson. I'm going to guess a pulling guard was not supposed to be doing that either. But I've got a guy in a quarterback that is not a strong physical runner who is more Lamar Jackson. He's closer to Lamar Jackson than he is Josh Allen or Cam Newton, where he's just going to take on the hit and pick up another yard or so. And if that's the case, I know they just gave it to Joe Jackson down inside the 15, and he didn't pick up the first down. They gave it to Joe Jackson earlier in the game in the one first down that they picked up. But if my quarterback also has to know at that point that, hey, this is we don't pick up the first down here, then they've got the ball and we're already trailing, and now they've got a short field.
And look, that wasn't the end
them.
of the game. It was akin to the Bills getting stopped on the first play of the fourth quarter against the Chiefs. Right. They got the ball back.
Yeah.
And K-State got the ball back and had a touchdown after that and
needed
to stop. Like you said, needed to stop.
Yep.
But it would have been huge to get it and march down and get points there. I would have thought in those conditions, that type of game, that Avery Johnson run game was going to be a bigger deal.
Me too.
I think he had 21 yards. Yeah. Now, look, Iowa State probably thought that too, and that might have been the reason why guys were just running wide open free over the top, and he had 3 touchdown passes, and that you're committing more guys up there to make sure you don't get beat by Avery Johnson's legs. But still, I would have thought in those conditions he could have done what he does best, which is run the football. I mean, look, I think it was a toss-up game.
Yeah.
I think K-State won the first half, but just made mistakes that just killed them, right? And the second half, Iowa State won more of those and made less mistakes. And but I mean, just they're snake bit. It seems like against the Cyclones.
And it's obviously a play here or there when you have a close game like that, and especially a series like this. And people will look at the fourth down decision there, but also 3rd and 7 at the 24-yard line. You're up 14-7, and Rocco Becht throws a dime. You get beat on the outside. Rocco Becht throws a dime at the touchdown. It's 14-14. You get a stop there. You've got a kicker going out there for a 40-plus yard field goal that he already missed earlier in the game. So with the wet field conditions, who knows what happens there, but you're up by 7, and you feel like at that moment, 3rd and 7, you get a stop there. Maybe you have a little bit more of a stranglehold on the game because then you can get the ball back. And then the touchdown happens. You get the ball back. You fumble. They then have a possession where they throw an interception, but you drop it. Rocco Becht threw the ball into the hands of a K-State player. He dropped it. They got 3 points on that drive. That's 3 less points on the board. Maybe he doesn't feel like he's got to go for it on 4th down if they don't put the 3 points on the board. Also, you set yourself up with a shorter field if you catch the football that's thrown to you by Rocco Becht. And then you get stopped on 4th down. And then their 4th down and 3, great play call. But also, I liked the strategy to go for it, even if they didn't pick it up. I like the strategy to go for it for Campbell. 1st down, 3 yards, we win the game.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we'll have to put it back in the hands of Avery Johnson.
You kick a field goal, a touchdown still beats you, right? It's
and you just gave up a touchdown, 65-yard touchdown.
Maybe if it's a 4-point game, maybe it's a different decision there, and if the conditions are different, if you hadn't missed that field goal earlier. But I think that that was the only thing to do is go for it. And you saw when they needed yards, they needed a first down in that fourth quarter. I think 3 times they went to like a little screen pass. One was to a tight end, that one was to the running back, released him. They obviously seen something, and I don't think it would have mattered, but man, it would have been nice for him to score there for K-State to at least have a shot, get the ball back.
And the overbetters.
I know, right?
And the overbetters. The underbetters are like, he was down! He was down! He was down! The forearm was down!
That under looked so good for so long, and then...
I was like, oh, well, for K-State, thank God he scored. Thank God he scored because now at least you've got a chance to go.
Get it back. Yeah.
I mean, I guess you need 3 yards, so do you say, hey, guys... We need 3 yards. If we pick it up, don't score a touchdown. I don't think you're planning that far ahead.
I don't think they are at the college level, and I think they would have been just fine with a touchdown there. It wasn't quite like the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Chiefs at church mode because it was first down, right? First or second down at that point. So like church mode, don't score, and then we'll take a knee and kick the field goal as close to time expiring as you can get.
How do you feel K-State fans should feel after that game, where it's a situation where week 0 – both teams obviously played on it, but not the best field, what it looked like, not the best conditions, extremely sloppy. Yet you also lost to a team that they didn't play very good either. I don't think Iowa State played very good.
2 turnovers as well.
They had a whole bunch of poor decisions. I mean, Rocco Beck threw some bad balls that you probably should have came down with. I mean, I just don't know how you view it. This is why I don't love week 0 playing a good team. It's fun for fans, right? Because I would much rather watch this game than watching Fresno State, Lindenwood play each other to kick off the season.
The last 2, are you taking Fresno State and Lindenwood playing each other?
Like my point is like 2 teams that you don't necessarily care about watching. Like
Fresno's way higher than a Lindenwood.
Yeah, but that's the last. The last two week 1 opponents for KU.
For KU,
is what you went with.
So. But or Central Arkansas. Like it's fun watching as a fan. Yet you got poor football. How much?
I think it's the SEC model, though. They've done it forever. They've had big games early on, so you can survive November. That's why they have FCS games in November. And, I mean, with the playoff, does it matter as much anymore? Probably not. But for the longest time, you would much rather take a loss in August than in November. But your point's well taken in that it sucks. You went all the way over there. You have to come back with a loss. And you're already behind the eight ball when nobody else has started their season, basically.
Yes.
Right? You're 0-1. Now, your Iowa State's the complete opposite.
Yeah,
oh, what a
great
great trip.
It's the
We're
best.
1-0 ahead, and nobody else has started their season. K-State's like, oh, God, we spent all
against
this
a good
money.
team, too, a team that you think that you're going to be fighting for.
Fighting for the conference.
And technically a road win for Iowa State.
Yes.
On their schedule, it was technically a home loss for K-State on their schedule, even though it was a neutral site, but that was a road game for Iowa State.
Yeah, we're 0-1, and 98% of college football hasn't even started yet. That kind of stinks. So. But no,
they are tied for the worst record in college football.
They are.
Kansas State is right now.
They're tied with Fresno State.
We were talking last night. If that's week 0 and Saturday's week 1, is Mizzou playing like week 0.7 or something like that?
0.75, 0.79 ish.
Week 2/3.
Yeah. Week 6 with the line over it.
Yeah.
Repeating, of course.
Repeating, of course.
Yes. That Thursday. I mean, I guess technically week 1, doesn't that start on Thursday, or does it week 1 have to start?
Why don't they just call week 1 still the opening kickoff and just have it be 10 days?
Because K-State and KU play.
Who cares?
Friday and Saturday, so that means they would have 2 games in week 1.
That'd be weird. Yeah.
Fine, I don't care. Count it.
Wouldn't
play-in
play
game.
twice in
This is
week-
the play-in game.
How about they just called it week 0? I think they've already figured it out.
K-State's now been relegated.
They've already
now
gone
been
with
relegated.
Well, they played overseas, so there's a little bit of that. But I don't think K-State will get relegated this year. I don't think they're going to be that bad in conference play. I think it's rough. I think it's unfortunate, and I think there are real questions about why 5 out of the last 6 games in this rivalry that Matt Campbell's been able to win.
It's weird in that, like, you see coaches, especially coaches that have been around for forever, a lot of the same games happen over and over again. I think we're seeing that with Kleiman and Campbell. And so some teams have their number. I like how week 1 sets up this week for the locals, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yes.
Right?
Nice.
Every single night, looking forward to something.
Yes, we get a Thursday, Friday,
and
Saturday.
You got Central Arkansas, Wagner, and North Dakota. Shouldn't have to worry about much.
You shouldn't. This should not be one to where the loss to Iowa State, you lose twice because, you're playing North Dakota. You're coming back home You get your second home game of the season. But your first one there in Manhattan. It was funny. I said earlier, somebody put out it was a meme of Nate Bargatze with his Saturday Night Live skit, with the American Revolution and everything. And it said, we shall spend hundreds of millions of dollars on stadiums on campus, and then we shall travel thousands of miles away to play what we will call a neutral site game. But why, sir? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Hundreds of millions of dollars for these stadiums. We shall call them neutral sites. Oh man. So yeah, I think it's a rough game for K-State, and a play here, play there, but in a vacuum, I think you could say that just a couple plays here or there, you can find a way to win that game. But you can't say that over a 6-year span where 5 times you're going, man, a play here, a play there. Right. KU's beaten Iowa State the last 2 years, and Matt Campbell's taken care of K-State the last 2 years. And then K-State's taking care of K-State.
This
nice little round robin.
It stings right now, but over time and a few weeks later, a loss to Iowa State in August is going to be better than the one in the snow in late November, and which can really, take some steam out of your sails. So you at least
some sloppy games they've played in with weather-wise and field.
Doesn't matter where they're at.
Yeah, let's go to Ireland, so we don't have to. Well, do you want to go to Ireland in August, or because August seems like you would not have that much snow?
2 schools that work in the fields have bad fields. Whenever they play.
That was just so. I mean, you can't even put the damn paint on.
Do we have stickier grass paint over here?
Do they not? Do they have different paint?
They reapplied it.
I know, right? We shall have paint that will stick to fields even in rain.
Well, we have waterproof paint. They have
but
water non-resistant paint.
Right, but why shall we focus on this, sir? Nobody knows. But we shall have paint that even in rain will stay there.
They don't have like Bear or any of the big brands over there.
Is that what it is? Sherwin-Williams.
They don't have Sherwin-Williams.
Sherwin-Williams live over there.
They have Sherwin-Williams, and it didn't quite. Not quite the same.
Sherwin-Williams.
It's actually made of Guinness. It's weird.
It does dissolve. It was rough. And just like the Super Bowl, only Iowa State and Philadelphia had to play on that field.
That was it.
So that was random that they were making them do that. But it was an odd game overall because Dylan Edwards muffs the punt, and then that's it from Dylan Edwards. Yeah. That's the last you see from him. And then he's got the social media post that I think he eventually deleted.
That's the other part of this. He's got that post. You have Avery Johnson's dad and Avery Johnson's brother. When I saw the headline, I'm like, oh, those two fought some other people. No.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Fought each other.
Yeah.
And then the video, it looked like Old Man Strength was winning there.
Right.
That's embarrassing. And they come out with an apology.
Yeah.
They learned from it, they said. I always find.
I hope they did.
Well, how do you need to learn from that? Just don't fight your dad or son. Have you ever fought your dad?
Clearly, they hadn't learned from it.
Yeah, so. I feel like that's not something.
Well, I feel like, there's no words, no apology that's gonna work. And people are gonna, rip apart. I don't know what they were. What was happening there? Some Guinness was involved, and maybe
or
some
Smithix.
Comments about Avery.
Well, I mean, it's
from maybe his brother. I don't know.
Right? I mean, it's incredibly selfish and irresponsible in that moment that you're there to support Avery.
Childish.
Yes,
right?
You're there to support Avery Johnson, and yet now the focus is on the dad and the brother fighting each other, and now Avery Johnson is going to be answering questions about it. He's got to deal with that. Somebody be the adult in the room or the stadium or sidewalk, wherever. Somebody be the, maybe we should just say, we'll handle it later. I have no idea how that happens, but, it did. There are stories of people that have said that I almost fought my dad or got in a fight with that. It's that's
but right in the middle
there
of
in
thousands
that moment,
of people, maybe they thought they didn't have phones over there.
Yeah, probably not. In social
Ireland.
Media age, nobody is videoing anything. But Dylan Edwards tweets out, for the doubters close to me and out of reach, I'd never be a person to quit on my teammates or do anything of that nature for attention and pride. If you truly know me, you know that I am a competitor that loves the game of football. I am truly disgusted and disappointed at the people that are sending hate messages and making fake theories about my character. I will be back. God makes no mistakes. The rejected will be respected. That has been deleted from Dylan Edwards, but apparently he was receiving social media backlash for leaving the game.
I don't doubt that whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't doubt that
What
either.
was the injury?
ankle injury. He was seen at the airport with a boot on later, but walked back to the locker room with his, I think it was his left foot fully taped. So, they spackled the tape on the outside of the shoe, but never got back in the game. Certainly that would affect the game plan of what K-State would have liked to do. And maybe there was some big
Another
plays that
running
would have
back
taken
fumble,
place.
right? Did they
Joe
not?
Jackson
Yeah,
fumbled. That's after it was after the touchdown. So it was 14-14, I think, at that point.
It was
that
third
they had
quarter,
just-
right, going
yeah, they
that
had
way.
they were going right to left.
Yes, they were.
Yep, on your TV and radio dial.
No, it's a fine line, right? And we've, it reminds you of that Super Bowl game, right? You get there and it's a great event. It's awesome for your fans, big spectacle. But man, losing hurts worse than any other one.
Yep.
And but they'll bounce back with time and patience. Things will get fine. If you're sticking to my script, they'll beat Wagner, but then lose to Army. So that will be the tough one to swallow.
Yep. We'll take a timeout, come back. We got some Learn Funniest Best coming up on the other side of the break. More Zone next.
not mocking. They're due to honor him, to show
I
respect.
think maybe he would see it as mocking if it's pronounced Barcelona. He's like, Barcelona. Oh, Barcelona.
I'm going to say what the king says.
Yes, thank you for respecting me and my Barcelona. You know,
So,
I can't wait till I get to hike school.
So I learned about that. Apparently, it's Spanish King Ferdinand.
Can't wait till I get to Barcelona. Stay here. What'd you learn, Mick?
I learned that there have been 3 streaks in Major League Baseball of 14 games, most consecutive games, with a homer by a team this season. The Dodgers from March 19th, they played overseas, didn't they? To April 11th, 14 straight games. The Dodgers did it again from June 20th to July 5th. And right now, from August 10th to 24th, the Royals have had 14 straight games. The Royals, who probably took them 2 months to hit 14 home runs to begin the season.
How many games did they have to actually play in before they got 14 home runs?
It was 50, I don't know. And they can break it tonight.
In Chicago.
Against the White Sox, you got to, right?
Yep. Shane Smith and his 4 ERA with Noah Cameron on the mound.
The Royals.
Yeah.
And I think they're still probably like 25th in the league in homers.
And Vinny can tie Bo Jackson for the most consecutive games as a Royal with an extra base hit. He's got 7 right now. Bo has the record with 8 straight games with an extra base hit.
7's it?
7's the record. There's like 5 guys tied at 7, but Bo had 8 straight games with an extra base hit.
Bobby has like 7 once a month.
The Royals
got to be consecutive, though.
The Royals are now 26th in home runs.
She said I bet they're only 25th.
They have passed.
Thought I was exaggerating a little bit.
They were so bad.
Wow. You know what's crazy?
What's crazy?
Second lowest in baseball. You'll never guess the team.
Dodgers.
Yankees.
Padres.
Okay.
Second lowest in all of baseball. I'm sorry, that was crazy.
Look at my socks are blown off.
Oh my gosh.
I don't have them on.
They
really were
literally are blown off.
Outside at the Vultures there. That's too bad. Michael, what'd you learn this weekend?
I learned that I was going to be producing this show, and so far nothing's blown up back here. So
that we know of.
Okay job.
That we know of. I mean, so far we got 25 minutes left. What are you doing, sir?
So much could happen.
Still a lot of time.
Huge mistake.
You got Sterling and Mick in this room.
It's a good point.
Light this place on fire.
Let's do it.
Woo! A lot of blowing up to go. All right, Sterling, what was the funniest from the weekend for you?
So there's now a thing that guys do, like ladies do baby showers.
Yeah.
The guys now are doing this diaper party thing where you bring diapers and stuff. So I just think the differences between those two are so drastic. We had one this weekend, and it was hilarious. So all the ladies, they went to me and my wife's house. They were there. They were like opening gifts. But she decorated the whole house with all these balloons and stuff. And they're all telling all these cute stories about the baby, and they all have baby gifts and stuff. We all go to our guy's house. We're like, all right, we're playing spike ball. There's a football. We're playing one-on-one drills. We had a guy who played quarterback in high school, so we're matching up one-on-one, going up against each other. We got the K-State game on, watching football. We're crushing beers. We're playing all these different games. I'm like, this could not be more different than what the ladies are up to. This is kind of a learn. I learned that Travis Hunter, what he does is incredible. We did like one-on-one drills of, like...
God, you're going to compare yourself to Travis Hunter, aren't you?
No, not at all.
Let me hold on. Buckle in. Here we go.
Like we're going back and forth like one-on-one. So like I'd be on offense and go on defense, then offense to defense, like consecutively, and it is a lot of work. You get. So it's a lot of work. So no, I think the funniest was the ladies were all having these quaint little quiches for lunch. We're grilling out, and I'm bleeding out there because I'm trying to make diving stops and
being a hero.
I'm trying to. Hey, come on, backyard football one-on-one. I'm gonna lay out. I'm going to make a play.
Zach Man over there.
Who knows?
Man, yeah.
Crab cakes and football.
Is his name Sack? It's Sack.
Yeah,
it's with
Sack,
an S.
right?
It's
Sack
weird. Yeah.
Well, if Joshua Williams might not make the team, the Chiefs might need a cornerback. So I'm going to
you think that.
I'm going to give it my all out there, Coach.
I'm going to go with Kevin Knowles over you. Just going out on a limb here. What was the funniest for you, Mick?
Did you see the guy in his fantasy football draft, number 1 overall pick? He went with B. Robinson, but it was Brian Robinson.
I mean,
what do you do? Do you let him put
know,
Bijan, or do you
By
say?
the way, is Bijan considered the number 1 overall guy?
I think Jamar, but I think he's top 4. Bijan is.
Yeah, it depends PPR.
Do you let your friend A,
I'd be
take
fine.
it down?
I mean,
B,
we knew
make
who
him
was-
keep it. C, rib him for about 5 minutes and then let him change
I would let
it.
him. I mean, it was one of those sticky things, though.
Yeah, I know. Like you had to actually take the name up
CBS
there.
Sports, yeah. So I would be fine with it, whatever. But these leagues are ruthless. Like some of them, you'll get dropped from the league if you're last, or you have to do all of these awful things if you last. So I don't do fantasy football. So
I think what may have happened there is one of his friends is talking to him, was like, man, so you're going to take Bijan Robinson Jr.? You're going to take B. Robinson Jr.? Because it's Brian Robinson Jr., so it's B. Robinson Jr. or just B. Robinson. I guarantee it's like, you got to take Bijan Jr., right?
You didn't hear he had a kid and he named him
You got to take Bijan Robinson Jr. You just say
his dad
over and over because he picks up the name that's B. Robinson Jr.
I wonder if like the Falcons are also in red, because that's one of their colors.
I think it is. I think it was
in red. I had a second funniest here. Did you see the high school game this past week? Grant Union and Folsom out of California. He's on one of the ESPNs. I think it was on main ESPN. Grant Union players were hyped. This is around Sacramento, I think.
Yeah, I saw this.
They were like running into before the game, the huddle of the Folsom people, the players, talking smack, running into him. He ran to a coach. Right. Finally, like one of these guys had to be pulled back by his own coach. In the game, one of the guys he's on the air because he's going to BYU, the quarterback. One guy rips the helmet off the quarterback. The other guy goes and tackles him after the play with the helmet off. And the team doing all that lost 51-13. I thought that was really funny.
So it's always the team that loses. It's always look how tough we are, and then it's like
it's like they just watched the Miami, one of the 3 Miami documentaries.
Yeah,
U of M documentaries.
I feel like they were an appropriate place. Folsom County seems like a spot where there might be the future for some of the guys that are.
True,
Well, that's the team that won, though.
Well, Folsom,
but the prison won.
Well, I know, but I'm saying that the other teams that was there was sort of just getting used to
this
the
California. Wasn't Folsom County? Was that Alabama?
I have no idea, but
I just Folsom prison. Johnny Cash.
Right. There's got to be a prison there somewhere. It may just be like an invisible prison of walls that nobody can get out, maybe. I don't know. Michael, what's the funniest for you?
You guys touched on it earlier, but it has to be Avery Johnson and his father fighting his brother in Ireland in week 0.
The funniest and the saddest.
Panic is ensuing in K-State Nation.
Funniest and the saddest in the same action.
See, I'm a Jayhawk, so for me it's funny. But if you're a Wildcat, you got to hate it.
Pissed off about that. Yeah, frustrated by that. So my funniest is on Friday, we're sitting around the dinner table talking about what went on in the kids' days, and Everett at science class, they were doing these different stations to where you would see what happens, and then you got to ask questions about, okay, why does this happen? Why does that happen? And so then they had to write down something that they wonder about. Like, I wonder why this, or I wonder why that. And I was like, so what was your wonder? And he goes, show me. He wrote down, I wonder why the Bengals defense is so bad.
Nice.
Like,
love it.
That's what I said. I wonder why the Bengals defense is so bad. That's what you want. Like, you can wonder a lot of things about the world. That's what I just wonder why they're so bad. You know, that's what I wonder. Miss Lippy, can you figure that? Can you answer that for me, please? Do you know why the Bengals defense is so bad? Is there a hypothesis that you have come up with? What's the constant? All right, it's the Browns are the constant family, not the team. Best, we start with you, Mick Schaefer. What was the best from the weekend?
So did you see this? Video came out of the shoot-around from Florida's game day shoot-around before the national title, the day of. Todd Golden hit 4 straight half-court shots in a coaches versus player competition that day. He was on fire, and coach took a game that night. But his quote afterward, he said, I told my dad I hoped it wouldn't be the best thing that happened that day. But it's amazing. The video, he just hitting them over and over again. It's amazing how good those guys are.
Yeah. Like, if you look at any of the centers in the NBA who don't shoot threes at all, and you just put them in an open gym, they would make 8 out of 10 threes almost 100%. Every single time.
100%.
It's just, you don't realize how good those guys
and they would
really
step
are.
back 5 feet because they're not used to the college line.
They're
NBA.
This is middle school line. This is child's play.
Yeah.
What was the funniest for you, Michael?
Best, I think.
What was the best for you then, Michael?
Kansas football returning to the booth. Beautiful night for football. I live like right next to the stadium. I'm hearing the stadium shake, the fireworks going off. Fantastic.
Nice. Okay, that's a nice little weekend. So you live right next to the stadium?
And commute up here. Yeah.
Do you sneak in every once in a while and just like go to sleep at midfield or something?
I could.
Yeah.
He actually has a tent that he has outside
It's
the
open
stadium.
on one side there,
Yeah,
on the south
pretty good.
side.
When
it's
they have
open,
to
yeah.
bulldoze that complete other side of the, I'll be there.
You'll be there when they. I hope not near it.
Well, it's where his tent's at. He literally just stays there. He stays at the booth.
Maybe he does. I don't know. The best for me is Mitchell Tinsley not playing in preseason game number 3 for the Cincinnati Bengals. Looks like he has made the squad. That would be a perfect combination of player for my family. Lee Summit High School, at least from Lee Summit, maybe not the Lee Summit High School, but Lee Summit kid, WKU Hilltopper.
Oh, look at
and
that.
now he is.
your own heart.
He didn't even suit up for Game 3 of the preseason game for the Bengals. Zach Taylor saying after the game, "I've already seen what I need to see from him." He's the one that had those crazy catches in the end zone. In preseason game number 2. He has been the talk of Bengals camp.
Hutch kid, where went to
Went to Hutch, and then he finished up at Penn State, but we don't need to worry about that.
That helped.
It was the WKU part and Lee Summit part. But yeah, so Lee Summit went to Hutch. Went
Lee
to
Summit High School.
I know, but still Lee Summit
He's not
kid.
North, okay,
Still
but yeah.
Lee Summit kid.
Good for him. I didn't know about that.
So Mitchell Tinsley, he is looks like all but secured. But yeah, when he doesn't play in the final preseason game, and then Zach Taylor said, "I've seen what I need to see from him." He's on the squad. So that was my best, is that it looks like tomorrow that's going to be one of the stories of the preseason, a guy who was an undrafted free agent on his second team.
Why do you love the Bengals so much? Two of his 3 were
that's
about the
true. He's a
Bengals.
big
One of
rent-free.
them- well, one
hey,
of them
free.
One of
hey,
them was making fun
rent-free
of him.
Mick, huh?
Yeah.
In his
Rent-free
dome.
Mortgage paid. I don't like rent free. I'm like, you mortgage paid in your head.
One of them was my son making fun of him, so I don't know that that's really.
What about the bills?
loving.
Did they pay the bills too?
Oh, I see.
Oh,
what
like
you did.
electric and gas.
Yeah, right. Best for you from the weekend, Sterling.
Saw the Jackson 5. It's the Jackson 2 basically now. It's
wow, there's still 5 of them out there.
no,
Good
it's
for them.
basically it's what Marlon and who's the oldest?
Tito around? So Randy's the oldest, I think.
No,
Randy?
was it? Let me look at who it is. Jackson 5 now.
Still alive, Jackson 5.
Tito was my favorite.
I think it was Jackie. Jackie Jackson.
Yeah, Jackie. That's one.
Yeah, Jackie and it's just Jackie and Marlon now, and then they have a whole band and stuff. They have a guy that actually sounds.
Are the other 3, have they passed?
Tito, I believe, is still alive.
Just not in the band.
Tito is.
You got kicked out of your own family's band?
Well, I think he's like
That's
9.
rough, man.
Pretty old. Jermaine is there. He's still 70, but he's not
Still 70, really? Like for how many years?
until December 11th.
I see. Okay.
Randy Jackson. He's still alive. He's 63. I don't know why half.
It's not the Randy that
say,
was Jermaine.
It's Steven
Randy
Randall.
the
Randy
one that
Jackson.
was on.
Hey, dog.
Yeah,
I
dog,
think you're
it's
going
no
to
for me,
Hollywood.
dog.
It's not. You're not going to not get Randy Jackson's autograph on a samurai sword if you see him in the airport.
But it was great. A lot of fun. They have a guy who sounds just like Michael, which I'm shocked that they could get that in that band. But yeah, it was fun seeing Jackson 5.
Where were they at?
They were at this event. It was at this farm. There was an auction for Children's Mercy. There's a guy who throws a big party every single year down there in Stillwell, and they were like, you know what? We have all these people here. Let's try and make this a charity event. Let's have some. Let's raise some money.
Huh?
About
40% of the Jackson 5 went to Stillwell.
Went to Stillwell. I'm sure that they were just a real treat there.
40%.
They're showing all these videos of them playing, in Japan, and like Germany and America, all these crazy places. Like they're in Stillwell. Yeah, it was cool. They were good. It was fun. I mean, it was great. They played a lot of Michael Jackson songs and also the classics. But yeah, it was great.
I saw the Jackson 5 at Arrowhead on the tour in 1984.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I loved the name Tito.
Oh, it's great.
Tito Jackson was my favorite. And as I've said before, for whatever reason, I was a Cardinals fan at the time because, well, the reasons my aunt and uncle were. And they had a guy named Tito Landrum who was like a utility player.
Yeah.
Right, off the bench. Right?
Not Tito Martinez.
No, it was-
You're going.
Tito Landrum. Look
Yeah.
him up.
Francona?
And he was my favorite player simply because he had the name Tito.
Why did you not name one of your kids Tito?
I don't know.
That's a great question.
I
Well,
got,
at
I
least
got
Tito
I-
Schaefer's
I went
strong.
to therapy. Guess what my favorite vodka is?
Tito's.
Belvedere.
Smirnoff.
Oh, that makes sense.
I always thought that.
Yeah. I also wonder why Joe Jackson doesn't wear 5. I mean, I know that Bradley is number 5 and is a senior, but still, I mean, can you pay? I mean, it's NIL now. Can you pay for the number 5 after this year? If he returns as Well, I mean, it's NIL and transfer portal. So if he returns for his junior year and Bradley graduates, would he switch to 5? I mean, he should be Jackson 5. That'd be smart. More people would be aware of you.
Chanel not number 5.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Oh yeah, good call. I didn't even think of that. You're smart.
Yeah, there was
I think he was in college, was he not? At Wisconsin?
At Wisconsin, probably. There was a wide receiver that played with Lamar Jackson at Louisville. His last name was Samuel, and he sat to the left of Lamar.
I've seen that picture.
And it was Samuel
L. Jackson.
Samuel Jackson tweeted about it. It's like, oh, wow, this is my favorite combination. Wide receiver, quarterback combination. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. 6-1 with Seth Lugo on the mound. Oh, that would have been a bad one.
1 to
end up
10.
losing.
What's that?
1 to 11. The amount of pitches that Seth Lugo throws. How nervous are you about him?
The amount of pitches he throws?
Doesn't he throw 11 different pitches, or is it 9?
Oh, I thought you meant like a pitches in an outing. Like
No,
does he pitch 90?
no. On a scale of 1 to 11, because he's 11 different pitches. I just thought I'd change it up.
Yeah.
8.5. You're nervous.
After last start, I'm like, all right, it's a blip. I don't think it's a blip anymore.
Yeah.
8.5 out of 11 is my scale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he looked fine the last start. And then it's like, okay, first inning. I know he gave up, but the curveball was working. Like, all right, okay, that's just
homers too.
Yeah, walks and home
A
runs.
lot
he's
of
been
walks
giving
and
up.
home runs, and that's
The
not a
command is the
great
biggest.
combo.
We had Annie
Yeah.
Rogers on the sound off last night. She
Oh,
was
nice.
great, and I threw everything out there, like even tipping pitches. Although you have to be really paying attention if you're going to figure out which one of 11 pitches that he's throwing. And she's like, it's the command. You see it with the walks, see it missing middle with home runs, and because the velo and Seren brought up, it's down a little bit, but less than a mile an hour. So yeah, command. And so hopefully he figures that out.
Yeah, I thought he did though. I mean, he said after his recent outing, there was some things with the mechanics that he was going too fast, and he just had to slow it down, in his delivery. And I'm like, okay, cool. He figured that out and found it. Thank God. But this one was right back to being the Seth Lugo that he was before. So yeah, it's really concerning because they're scoring runs. You need Seth Lugo to be Seth Lugo to
Have
catch
they
them.
won of those 6 starts? It's 6 starts since he signed. Basically, 5 have been bad.
question.
I feel like they've won 3 of them, maybe 4.
I'll tell you right now.
They've had his back, which was the opposite of what had happened the previous year and a half when he would go out there, give up 1 run, and take the loss.
I feel like they've
because
only won the
Royals
last
scored.
2. I think they've only won the last 2. I might be wrong, though.
They're actually 4-2.
Okay, so you were right, and I'm the dumbass.
He signed the
I
contract.
admit it. Credit to me for admitting it.
He signed the contract. His first start.
Correct. Credit to you for being wrong. Gotcha. Yeah.
His first start was July 29th. They won 9-6. Then his next start, he went 4 innings only. They won 7-4 in 10 innings.
Hey, if that's a recipe to win 2/3 of the time,
Then they lost 9-4 to Minnesota. He gave up 7 runs. 8-7 to Washington. He gave up 7 runs. Won 5-2, and they won 10-8.
Get shelled.
10 innings, 8 earned runs combined. Yeah, so the offense has
Run
scored
that
9, 7,
9
4,
ERA
7, 5,
Yes.
10. Since he signed, they're like, good God, Lugo's on the mound. We got to score runs today, guys. All right? Every at-bat, every pitch matters because we got, old Mother Hubbard and only Seth Lugo's in the cupboard for us today. So it might as well be a bullpen game, guys. We got to go out there and approach it that way. We got to score runs on runs on runs. 9, 7, 4, 7, 5, 10.
Are you happy the preseason's over for football?
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I figured Mick
Yeah.
has to be the most thrilled of anyone.
It's the biggest football season. Once it gets started, it is regimented. It's every
Yeah.
day. You know what to expect. It's great. You can handle it. Getting football started is the biggest chore. I mean, the Chiefs have been at training camp since July 20th, right? You have the 3 preseason games, now this 2-week break. You've had college fall camp forever. The high schools, we've done 30 high school football previews. I'm like, Missouri finally starts this week. I'm like, get me to like September 5th, and things will settle down.
Did you ever respond back and fix the levels of the audio since that was your fault, apparently? Mick got a tweet or an email about how the audio levels in the Chiefs game was a little off on the for them, and Mick is the one that actually does that.
Yeah, I went to the booth. I went to the Nat Sound booth, and
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, can you turn that down 6%?
That makes sense. Yeah.
The equalizer's a little off here, guys.
Yeah.
Little more treble. The bass is a little heavy.
The snare. I couldn't hear the snare in the background. That was the problem. But we did hear Brett Veach say that they plan on rolling over a large chunk of the salary cap into next year. So we talk about how much salary cap they have and how far under the cap they are. It's not to go and doesn't look like to go and make any acquisitions unless maybe mid-season they need something.
We'll see.
And that's just smoke screen.
Well, he said they
Look over there.
No, he said they got a lot of business to do next year, and they do. So doesn't look like McDuffie's going to sign before the season starts. Got to figure out something with Rashee Rice. You got some business to do, and they're already well over the cap as it is right now. So
Well, that's without Mahomes restructure. That's
agree.
the
and it's
big
with
one.
Jawan Taylor's salary cap on the
Correct.
books,
Yeah.
and without the money they'll save when
There'll
they
be some
release him. So-
easy changes there.
Yeah, for sure. Mick, thank you for stopping in, man. Really appreciate it.
Can't wait till Wednesday.
Killer stuff, man.
Yeah,
Just
it's really
absolutely
Can you
killed it, man.
not wait, actually?
I can't. We just want to start recording it now at 2.
Can we?
Tell Seren, lock the door. We're gonna record a Wednesday.
we
right
jump
now.
Petra,
ahead to
Mick's going to stay in here for a while.
Yeah.
It's going to be
be
mixed
cool with
tape
that.
for the next hour. So he got that going for you.
Hey.